Broadway.
It's winding
And
its way.
look at the ticker tape is already, the sanitation department's going to have a big day today, I can tell you that.
Chuck, last time we were here, it was the Gulf War Parade.
It was. We covered that. This has been, obviously, as you well know, the traditional route for heroes of all sorts and all stripes and all occasions, from Nelson Mandela when he came through here after 3 decades of being in a South African prison, to, of course, the Gulf War heroes and Douglas MacArthur, and going back about 100 years. The Apollo astronauts came through here.
Well, 2 years ago, we were in this exact same location for the Rangers, and that was June 17th of '94. It was a beautiful sunny day, and the joy that the crowd emitted was just tremendous. It was just a nice, warm New York feeling aimed towards the Rangers, and I have to feel this is bigger just by the very nature that baseball is a bigger sport than hockey. And this Yankee team, the way they did it, and not that the fans didn't fall in love with those Rangers 2 years ago, but this was really a comebacking kind of team effort. Not a lot of egos, and I think this team was embraced by the city, and we're going to feel that today here in New York City.
That comeback spirit, especially evident in the World Series.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, down those 2 games, most of us felt that that was it. They'd go to Atlanta and never get back to New York. And then, of course, not only were they down in games, they were down 6-0 in that 4th game and somehow came back, and the Leyritz home run tied it.
How many people left that TV set when the score was 6-3?
Well, how about 6-0?
Yeah.
I mean, I was sitting out in the right field press area. I don't remember that foul pop-up when they were trailing 6-0. Derek Jeter hits a ball that 3 Atlanta Braves can't catch, drops in foul territory. He then gets a base hit. I turned to the fellow sitting next to me and said, "That's the turning point," joking. And it was. They scored 3 runs. Then Leyritz hits the 3-run homer. And when Wade Boggs walks with the bases loaded, the Yankees never trailed again. But comebacking not only in terms of games, but the athletes. You know, Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry coming back from drugs, and Joe Torre coming back from managerial firings. Just a big comeback for everybody.
Well, then I remember after game 1 when you were talking to Joe Torre, and he said, "Okay, well, we lost the first one here in New York," and they were shelled. I mean, it looked like a really lopsided matchup at that point. And he said, so we'll come back and we'll try to win tomorrow, and we're a team that comes from behind. If we don't win tomorrow, we'll come behind again. And he was right. They did not give up. They just wasn't in their vocabulary, the idea that they would surrender to anybody after the season they had.
All right, Chuck, we've got a magnificent view of the parade route, and let's kind of describe what it's winding its way from Battery Park at the tip of Lower Manhattan, up Lower Broadway, right to City Hall, and that stretch along Lower Broadway, of course, known as the Canyon of Heroes. A little less than a mile, and it's going to last about, well, you should say at least an hour.
We have a team of News Channel 4 reporters all along the parade route, and we're going to begin now with Glenn Walker. He's at the starting point down at Battery Park right now. We probably got to call that Batter Park on the occasion. And the parade goers are gathering right there. Glenn?
Well, I'll tell you what, Chuck, looking behind me, it looks like things have already started. The ticker tape and all the paper is already flying out the windows. This, of course, is the staging area. Right over here behind me, you see some people over here in red jackets. This is people from Brooklyn Marine Park. Joe Torre Baseball. He has a Little League program that he has sponsored in Brooklyn Marine Park since back in 1974. He loans them their name for, of course, no charge. And they are certainly proud of their native son as the Yankees win the World Series championship. Behind me over here is where the Yankees will get on the floats as they start the parade. Right now, they are in a tent waiting for this thing to get cranked up. And a lot of people out here, a lot of police security. And right now, the police are not letting anybody get close to the world champions. They don't want anybody to get real close to them, but they'll be getting on those floats soon, and they'll be heading down Broadway, and the ticker tape parade is about to get underway. Now let's go over to Al Roker and Joe Avalar farther up the parade route.
We're right in the middle of the parade route. Matter of fact, we're at Cedar and Broadway. It's just getting exciting, isn't it, Al?
It really is. The folks are here. I mean, we've seen different areas of toilet tissue going back and forth.
Back and forth.
Which has been pretty exciting. And in fact, some of the guys are going to have to deal with it right here.
Well, let's show them. Swing it over here. We'll show you the Department of Sanitation is out here now. They're ready. They're ready to clean up massive amounts of paper out here. They have brand new brooms. They're 14. Look at this. This is brand new. Never been used. They are ready to clean up and up. We got new blowers here. These guys are ready. They're psyched. Now, of course, we got sanitation on this side. Let's swing it over this way. Let's give it to Al, and Al's going to talk to some of the 3 million fans.
Some of the fans who have come on down here. So how long have you been waiting for this? Since 10:30? 9:30. You guys got here? You got here since 7:30. So you can see a lot of folks have obviously gotten here quite early to be part of a historical parade. Obviously, we're going to be here all along. Now let's head up to the Broadway and Michele Marsh, who's looking down on Broadway. Michele.
Hello there. I'm at the corner of Fulton and Broadway, and Yankee fans, of course, have been waiting 18 years for another World Series championship celebration like this one, and people are telling me it was worth the wait. You know, I got here at about 9 o'clock, and the confetti was raining down then. I'm looking across here at the sidewalk where people are about 15 deep lined up here right next to St. Paul's Church. And can you see those people across the way there perched up on that building? These people, these fans will do anything for a good view of this parade today. And now I'm going to throw to my colleague, John Johnson, who's at City Hall.
Well, hi, Michele. We're down here pouring a poor justice. We're with, this is Pandemonium. We are on the east side of the City Hall. We're at Center Street and Park Road. Now, what's going on right here is just behind me were barricades, and the crowd actually removed the barricades so they could stream into this area. But they can't see much from right here. There are a lot of people here who have cut work and who are home from school also. All right, are you cutting school today?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah? What about you?
Having a great time. I love it.
Yeah,
Yankees rule.
okay, hold on. You said also that some of your teachers are cutting from school today?
Yeah, they're coming to cutting school, everyone.
All right. We also have people up here who are up here. They're standing on top of the barricades also. There is a little concern here because the police were trying to keep this area a safe area, but I've seen women with children in carriages climbing over just to get a glimpse of the Yankees, and I don't know that they will, and I don't think that we will either, considering the situation that we're in. Let's move over here to some of the younger children who are in this crowd. Hi, how old are you? Okay, he's taken by Yankee fever. Hi, how are you, sweetheart? Come over here. Come over here. What's your name?
Miranda.
Yeah, you're a Yankee fan? Did you leave school today? Yeah, what grade are you in?
Third grade.
Yeah, third grade, but I guess you couldn't miss this, huh? All right, thank you, sweetheart. All right, so we have a wonderful crowd here. And they're going to be here all day. Now let's go on. This is John Johnson on the east side of City Hall. Let's go back to you people.
Yeah, I can't wait until the Yankees actually roll down there.
No,
People are really enthusiastic.
My goodness.
You know what's funny about the all those kids who have cut school today? Yesterday, it was interesting watching the buck being passed because the mayor was asked what he would recommend about children wanting to skip school and come to the parade today. And he said, well, that's up to the Department of Education here, the Board of Education. That's their bailiwick. And the Board of Education said, well, you know, that's kind of up to the parents. Talk to your parents about it, kids.
Well, let me clear up for the record, if you're wondering about some very important school kids, the kid who caught the baseball out in right field, Jeffrey Mayer, he's in school today in Old Tappan, New Jersey. Mom said, it's a school day, he's not coming. However, on the other side of the coin is Joe Torre's sister, Sister Marguerite, who has a Catholic school class in Ozone Park, Queens. She brought them all here. This is a school trip for her, from Sister Marguerite and the kids. In fact, they're here. They'll be sitting off to the side of the stage here at City Hall. Maybe we'll talk to Sister Marguerite a bit later on.
That'll be fabulous.
All righty.
You know, the Yankee celebration actually began at almost the crack of dawn on Wall Street, about an hour and a half ago, to be quite frank about it, down on Wall Street. There was the stock market's opening bell rang today with a special occasion.
Bronx Bombers manager Joe Torre did the honors to start the trading day. Joe Torre joined officials from the New York Stock Exchange. No doubt from the reaction on the floor, their stock is very high this crisp fall morning.
Indeed it is. And of course, we'll be back. We're going to continue this coverage. The parade starts officially in about 20 minutes now. Starting down at the Battery and marching up here towards City Hall. We can see as we look around here, guys, that the crowd is already getting very, very thick here. A lot of people have turned out, and it's a perfect day for it. We'll be back in just a minute.
Today's World Series Victory Parade is brought to you in part by Saturn and the United States Postal Service.
There's a global company that can help you reach overseas markets as if they were right next door. A company that can speed packages across the Atlantic or the Pacific for less than you'd probably pay to send them across town. The U.S. Postal Service offers global priority mail. Around the country and around the world, no one delivers like the U.S. Postal Service.
People are either radiators or drains, and I radiate my sunshine on everybody.
You are looking good, baby.
In fact, I get them to thank me for taking their money.
Wow.
The Saturns caught my eye from the first one I saw.
How do you like your Saturn? Keep your shirt on. I'm looking at the car.
People would be screaming and honking.
This is gorgeous.
Get back in your boat.
How about a look under the hood?
I must have talked to at least 2,000-3,000 different Saturn owners. Every single one of them absolutely loved their car.
Encontrando un banquero que entiendes mis necesidades.
In matters of money, what matters to you?
Finding a banker who understands my needs.
The money to take care of my parents the way they took care of me.
Becoming a member in good standing of the credit-worthy society.
When you're looking for financial solutions, look to Fleet, the bank with more of them.
Cash flow.
Overdraft protection.
Someone to set up our 401k plan.
To learn more, stop by the Fleet Bank branch near you or call 1-800-CALL-FLEET.
Well, there is an empty car soon to be filled by somebody coming in the parade. A fabulous, looks like a 1959 red Cadillac convertible. Takes me back a little bit. We are covering the...
Were you around then?
What?
Were you around then?
I was around then. Yes, I was.
Did you say 50? Did you say 59?
I thought it was.
The Yankees were not in the World Series in 59. I just thought I'd throw that.
Thank you, Len.
Anytime.
Len is a virtual encyclopedia of sports trivia. Ask him any question. Phone them in. We'll be happy to answer them.
Well, actually, Len told me that he can recite every team in every World Series since...
about 54. Anyway, take a look at Don Zimmer to the lower left, kind of balding. Bob Watson, the Yankee general manager, off to the right. On top is hitting coach Chris Chambliss. So this is obviously the coaches and the general manager. This is their float. They've assigned various groups of people, and I believe there's 3 or 4 Yankee floats. The infielders will be grouped, the outfielders and the relief pitchers will get their own.
Yankee fans probably hoping to get a sight of Reggie Jackson.
Well, there will be many former Yankees who are here today. Reggie now in the Yankee front office. But some of the former players have been invited back. Some have accepted the invitation. I don't expect Yogi Berra to appear. He has not come back to an official Yankee activity since
he was released.
Fired him in 1985. That's a real source of a sore point for Yankee fans, and particularly Yogi Berra fans. Boy, look at that sight of those people.
Now, if you hear some noise, they are testing the sound system here at City Hall, and the folks at home may be hearing that. It's been interesting here because they have a giant television screen off to our right. They've been showing highlights of the World Series. The crowd here has been enjoying it, and they've got a fabulous sound system at City Hall. I think we should show you a highlight of the World Series. Let's take a look at the last out right now and look at the finish of what was truly a miraculous victory.
Saturday night, Mark Lemke, the batter, 3-2 count. Charlie Hayes, who had just missed the previous opportunity, nestles in his glove, and, well, nothing needs to be said. These pictures, Yankee fans can never get tired of seeing. Congratulations for George Steinbrenner, but this is the shot on the mound. Eventually, Paul O'Neill came flying over the top. John Wetland said later he was at the bottom of the pile. He felt pain in his leg.
Oh, no.
And I've often wondered about that. It's probably one of the most dangerous plays in all of baseball, is the victory celebration at the end if you're the first guy in. You know?
And then, of course, after winning, the players made it toward the locker room. And why don't we try to listen into some of the comments Saturday night after the Yankees had become champions of the world.
When you walk down the hall here with the champagne bottle in your hand, you were just shaking your head like this. Can you share your thoughts with me?
I mean, every game has been so close and so uptight. I can't believe it's over. And, you know, all the disappointments through here and ups and downs, it just all comes to, you know, one thing, and that's winning Game 6 in the World Series tonight. And we did it the way we've done it all year. We got a lead, gave the ball to Mariano, gave the ball to Wetland. We got close, and we won. It's an unbelievable feeling. It really is.
For so long, I thought it never happened. And, you know, once it finally gets to that point, 2 outs and a pop fly down the left, you know, third base line. And when that final catch was made, I tell you, I I almost passed out.
How does it sound to you that in the same sentence you can now say Cecil Fielder world champion?
It's incredible. I mean, you know, it's just hard to say, you know, how I feel in words, but, you know, it's been a long time coming, just getting the opportunity to show that, hey, you know, in the right situation with the right group of guys, I can help win a world championship.
Darryl, from where you have come from and the personal demons that you have fought and overcome, is this particularly satisfying?
It's very satisfying to be able to come from where I come from and to be able to put my life together. I think was a real important issue, and you know, baseball was always there, but I needed to take care of myself and look at myself, and now I can really look at myself clear in the mirror, and I look pretty good now because I understand it.
And Darryl Strawberry now with a ring as both a Met and a Yankee. Dwight Gooden also is in that category, but he didn't participate in this World Series. He wasn't on the roster. So Strawberry now officially the only one to have played and gotten a ring in those 2 World Series.
What about David Cone?
David Cone was not with the Mets in '86.
Oh, he wasn't?
He came with them later. And one piece of business, the second Yankee on that tape was Tim Raines, who didn't have his identifying name up on the screens. Tim Raines was the second player interviewed there. So that was a nice moment. I was off to the side of the locker room, and the players were just, well, there's Darryl as he walks among the crowd.
Speaking of, I think, are we looking at Darryl right there?
Yep.
That's a double-decker bus they have set up here, and I think some of the Yankees are going to be on board that. At least I think that's reserved for the managers, is it not? The double-decker bus and their families and friends and everybody else?
Probably any Yankee that wants to get on that bus will be on that bus.
Well, they certainly earned it. Talking about Darryl, that was one of a number of, I think, really interesting, fascinating, and touching stories that occurred with these individual players. I mean, there was Darryl Strawberry, who was talking very gently and softly at the end of this victory about his life and how he had come back from the brink of baseball oblivion and been given a second chance, and put his demons behind him, and I thought it was a very warm, touching moment in that interview.
Well, the thing about Darryl Strawberry is that people now forget how long a baseball season this is. He was with the Yankees last year, was not with any team when the season began. He started in, it's almost semi-pro with a team in Minneapolis, St. Paul called the Saints. It's owned by a grandson of the late Bill Veeck. And Darryl was just there and hitting home runs. And George Steinbrenner is the man who said, bring him to the Yankees. And George was criticized a bit when he brought Darryl to the Yankees last year, and Darryl was a model citizen and performed well, and he was criticized a little bit again this year. And, you know, that move for Steinbrenner paid off, as did Dwight Gooden.
Well, let's talk about Darryl a little bit in the World Series. I mean, nobody thought that he was going to be a defensive hero.
That's right.
He played with a broken toe.
He played both right field and left field very well.
He did, and he's had his problems earlier in his career in the outfield.
Yes, absolutely. He worked with Yankee coach Jose Cardinal, worked on his fielding to the point where he will be back next year. George Steinbrenner has already made that declaration that if he and Dwight Gooden pass their physicals, they're back.
Let's switch now to Al Roker, who's at Broadway and Cedar. Al, what's the mood down there?
Well, I'll tell
Pretty
you,
gloomy,
Chuck,
right?
Yeah, everybody's really depressed right now. It's amazing. And it's a real air of anticipation. And what's really special is there are the fans who were obviously way too young to ever remember the Yankees in their glory, and they are lining the parade route. What's your name, young man?
Janelle Raymond.
Yeah, and how long have you been a Yankee fan?
Pretty well, a long time.
Almost your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this pretty exciting?
Yes.
All right. And we got a pal down here, you know the Yankee fan. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt, how long have you been a Yankee fan?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah. We've been here since 7:30.
You got here since 7:30. Now, normally, I bet it's hard for your mom and dad to get you up in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no problem this morning, right?
Nope.
Yeah? And here's another young Yankee fan. What's your name, young man?
Brian.
Brian. Who you here with?
My mom and dad, my brother.
Yeah, a lot of fun? Now, is everybody in your family a Yankee fan?
Yeah.
Everybody. All right, even you. Good to see you. And that's the kind of crowd we got. Joe Avalar's got some people over here. Joey?
There's more people up and down the aisle. You know, the one thing I was curious about now, didn't ask them, shouldn't all the kids be in school today? But their mom and dad's bought them, so I guess it's okay. Now, where'd you come in from?
Hazlet, New Jersey.
And what time did you get here today?
We left at 6 and...
6 in the morning?
Yeah, we got here about 8.
Got to hear about it. That's not too bad. Now, I know some people have been here all night long. I haven't found anybody yet recently. How long did you get here?
We were here last night, 11 o'clock.
Wait, so you've been here all night?
All night long, right?
With your son?
With my son.
Now, did you ever think you'd be camping out in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan? That's kind of, was it fun? You're excited about this?
Yeah.
This is great stuff. Well, you got front row seats. That's not bad.
Hey,
did you ever think you'd be camping out in Manhattan?
Never did. Well, we're happy to be here. We're happy for the Yankees. We're happy for New York City.
All right, it's a great day in New York and a lot of great fans. I'm Joe Abler. Back to you.
All right, Joe, thanks. What do you think? Do you think Al and Joe deserve a hand?
Yes.
Let's give them a hand.
But you notice Sue is much too dignified to get involved in this nonsense.
That's right, and I think I just ought to say we'll be back after a break. That's what I ought to say.
Nicely done. You know, they have clean brooms for this parade.
Do they?
New brooms.
Good. And blowers.
Please find your daughter at the City Hall press office.
Today.
The victory parade is yet to begin, and we see the Sanitation Department of New York diligently on the job already, beginning to sweep up the streets on Lower Broadway.
Do you think that's a battle they can win, Chuck?
They always do, Sue. They charge, they attack, and they win this battle against the trash.
You know, George Steinbrenner has been such a focal point of the Yankees since buying the team in 1973. In many ways, he's become bigger than the Yankees. He's been criticized roundly, and he's taken it all. He quickly built a world championship Yankee team in the late 70s. They won 2 in a row, but then it was the longest stretch in the Yankee history where they had not won a World Series since they won the first one way back when. They've now won their 23rd. So I had a chance to talk to George Steinbrenner last night and asked him what this whole new world championship experience has been like for him. Share with me what the last 48 hours have been like in your life.
Unbelievable. You suffer a lot of slings and arrows for outrageous fortune, as Shakespeare said, when you're going through the process that competitive athletics bring about. But this city, anybody ever try to tell me that they don't want to play in New York City because of the pressure and because of the media, they don't have any idea how great it is to play in New York City. They just don't have it. And I think any of the young men that played for us this year can understand. If you give something back to this city, they reward you 10 times over. It's been exciting for me. Walk in a restaurant, people say, nice going, applaud. You walk down the street, the doormen, the cab drivers, the cops driving along, all honk their horns. And the players are getting this, too, and they have to understand how great it is in this city.
I feel that the reaction towards your team is even greater than I would have expected, toward the players, toward the manager. They'll even cheer you at the ticker tape parade.
Yeah, and that's something. I don't know. Maybe they'll throw something. I don't know. But it is. This town has adopted this team, and I think I can put my finger on the reason. New York people are battlers, son. They have a great quality. I've seen it over 23 years here, called mental toughness. And I think this team had as much mental toughness as any team that's ever played in the World Series. They battle back, and New Yorkers are battlers. And I love that about them. I mean, they battle for their taxi cab. They battle for their lunch counter seat. They battle, and they know what it is. And that's why they've adopted this team, I really think, as no other team has ever been adopted by a city. And I think it's good for everything. My gosh, our guys win. The Giants won. The Jets win. I think that's great. It was a great weekend for New Yorkers, but New Yorkers deserve it.
Yes, we do deserve it, don't we, Chuck and Len?
I think so. I always chuckle. George often speaks of the battling for the taxi cabs. I'm wondering just how often George battles for a taxi cab with the common man. I'm just curious.
About as often as we battle to get in a subway car. That's about the story on that one. Now, somewhere down in that maze at Battery Park, the parade is just beginning to start, and Glenn Walker's standing by. Glenn?
Well, Sue, I've got Congressman Chuck Schumer and John Marr, the president of the Joe Torre Little League right here. Congressman, how many of your constituents did you bring down here today?
Oh, about 300. We're all proud of Joe Torre. I played in the Joe Torre Little League, but in those days, Joe was a nobody. Frank was our hero. He was in the major leagues. The Joe Torre Little League has been a blessing for Marine Park, and they're ecstatic.
John, to be honest, did the kids that play in the Little League program really know who Joe Torre was before this season, before he came to the Yankees?
Yes, they did. Most of the older children did. The younger children did. But once the season got to be halfway and they saw the Yankees and a lot of coverage of the Yankees in first place, and they're ecstatic. They can't believe they're here today. I can't believe I'm here today.
What does this mean to Marine Park?
Oh, well, the Torre family is well known. You know, we've had a lot of great ball players come out of Marine Park area. John Franco, Candelaria, Mazzilli, Rico Petrocelli from the Marine Park Sheepshead Bay area. But we're proud of none more than the Torres. They still live there. They are the neighborhood, and this is a great double hit for us. We love the Yankees, but Marine Park is especially proud of the Torres.
Are you surprised at all the way this? I mean, a lot of teams now, you know, fans have become resentful of big league stars and the money they make, but it looks like this town has a love affair with the Yankees again.
And the Torre family has stayed down to earth. One of the sisters lives in the neighborhood. Another sister is the principal of one of our local Catholic schools. It's just great. What can I say?
All right, thanks for stopping by. All right, let's go back to the studio.
All right, Glenn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We were just treated here back at City Hall to a rendition of God Bless America.
By one of the longest Yankee fans we know, Robert Merrill, who sings the national anthem year after year. That was Joe Torre doing just spot.
Signing autographs on Yankee caps as they get ready to shove off.
And we will be back in just a moment. The parade starts in just about 2 minutes time, so stay with us right here. Our coverage continues. Chopper 4, we're looking down on the winningest sports team in America, sports city in America. In the 1990s anyway, this town is the best. We have the New York Yankees, the 4th local championship team of the 90s. The Devils won the Super Bowl in 1990. The 1994 Rangers won the Stanley Cup, as is the 95 Devils. And there's no other city who can match that, Len.
Well, Montreal had... as you take a look at George Steinbrenner fighting for a taxi cab. No, actually, he's got a bus. You know, the Yankees were tied with the Montreal Canadiens, 22 championships until this year, and the Yankees nailed down number 23 to become the winningest professional sports franchise of all time.
As a kid, they've always felt like they won all the time.
Well, it did. That was, you know, I was thinking back to this. In fact, the Yankees played the Braves. They were then the Milwaukee Braves. I was thinking back to 1958. And I was a kid living in Queens, and the Yankees trailed that World Series 3-1 and came back and won that series. I remember Yogi hit a home run in Game 7. Game was over and went outside and played basketball with the kids. No big deal. And then all this time later, they beat the Braves, and I get to sit at City Hall at a parade. So, you know, as a kid growing up as a Yankee fan, this was truly special.
You didn't go back to Boston Braves, did you?
No. You did, Sue.
A little footnote on that 58 Braves game. You know who was playing first base for the Braves then? The Milwaukee Braves.
That's right, Frank Torre.
Frank Torre, who had a heart transplant operation the night before the Yankees won this year. And Joe Torre used to go watch the World 57 and 58.
You know, it's amazing, and the Daily News alluded to it the other day. When Joe Torre was named Yankee manager, most people in the media said, why are you doing this, Joe? You don't know what you're walking into. Buck Showalter was popular. He had done well as Yankee manager. Stick Michael had been reassigned. He had been general manager. Don Mattingly, an all-time great, had left. And people said, Joe Torre, why are you doing this? In fact, the headline in the Daily News was Clueless Joe. And now Joe Torre is such a hero and such an idol. And not only the fans love him, the media certainly likes him, and his players just adore him.
It worked out great for everybody. We have a wonderful view here, as does Michele Marsh. I don't know how high up she is, but she's on somebody's rooftop, Michele. There's the mayor. Mayor Giuliani on the float with him. Or I can't see.
Michele, are you with us?
Yes, hi. Here we are. I wanted you to look at these people across the way. Carmine, can you pan over that way at 195 Broadway? You're talking to somebody here who is afraid of heights, and so I am amazed to see 20, 30 people perched out on that ledge across the way there, patiently waiting for the first glimpse of this parade. The crowd is going wild. They've been cheering, "Let's go, Yankees." They are so excited. And right now, I've got a Yankee fan, a diehard Yankee fan. Walter Richards is with me. Walter, you're from the Bronx. How far back do you go as a fan?
1941. My father used to take me to the bleachers on Sundays to watch doubleheaders with my mother. I remember when even Yogi Berra started, he played the outfield the first year. He was a bad catcher, and Bill Dickey took him during the winter, taught him how to be a catcher.
What memories will you take of this team, 1996?
I think they had the spirit of the old Yankees. The old Yankees played together, they acted together, they really had a family spirit about them. It was beyond baseball and beyond making money. And I think the manager and the owners really pulled together, and the people that were on the team really wanted to do a really special thing, and they really did at tremendous odds.
Hope you have a great day today. You enjoy every moment of it. We're going to go now to John Johnson live at City Hall.
All right, we're here again on the east side of City Hall. The crowd is still coming in here, and what's hard to understand right here is no one over here where we are can see anything, yet everyone is here. Okay, you left work today. You didn't go
Absolutely.
to work today.
I have a great boss. He let me leave. This is what makes New York great. Everyone getting together, all our differences put aside for one day. Go Yankees, #1!
Okay, but you can't see anything.
I can't. And I have a ticket to be up there, but I can't get through.
You can't even get through. Let's get some of the women here. Hi.
We love the Yankees.
We love the Yankees.
I've been a fan since 1978.
Really?
Really.
And you're off from work today as well?
Yes, we are. We're here. We're standing by you, Yankees. Yeah.
All right. We have more people over here. They're standing up.
Hi, Dr. Margolin. Thank you. I'll be at work at 2 o'clock. See you in a little
There are some more people over here who've been standing here. Hello.
Hi.
So, tell me why you're here today. For him. It's for your son, right? Special day. You wouldn't have missed this, would you? No. Even if you can't see anything. No. Well, I think that the whole point here is that everyone had to bear witness for the Yankees. This is a special day, no matter how you cut it. Reporting live from over here on the east side of City Hall. Let's go back to you folks.
All right, John Johnson, thank you very much. Len, the festivities have started. We got a peek at Joe Torre and not Dwight Gooden, I'm sorry.
Dwight Gooden was standing in street clothes. Many of the Yankees and their coaches wearing Yankee jackets. We have a special guest who joined us up on the podium who's going to join in with us. He's always a good voice. Robert Merrill has joined us. How are you?
A great pleasure. Well, I'm so excited. I feel like a kid, you know. You wouldn't believe it that I opened the season this year in the snowstorm.
That's right.
And here I am now. It's just wonderful.
And you sang the anthem. I should remind you that you sang the national anthem for Game 1 of the World Series, which the Yankees lost, by the way. But I would hold that against you.
You would remember that, huh?
Are you going to sing? You're going to sing today, aren't you?
Yes, I sure am. I'm going to sing America the Beautiful. And I'm going to help Placido Domingo sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game in English.
And you're wearing a pinstripe shirt, as I am, all decked in pinstripe. How did you get so involved with the New York Yankees?
How did I get involved? Well, I saw them play when I was 8 years old. And I saw Babe Ruth.
You said Babe Ruth.
I became a Yankee fan. Mr. Steinbrenner asked me when he bought the team to record national anthem, and I did, and then he had me go out and sing it in person, and I've been singing it ever since for 9 World Series games and 10 playoffs.
Yeah, and I hope you have a better record. Is your record pretty good during those games?
Well, they told me I was hitting 800.
800?
Yeah.
Well, that's darn good.
The parade now is underway. We can see it began a couple of minutes late, but it's moving up Lower Broadway right now, and there's probably the world's biggest baseball glove and ball.
Oh, wait, we got you Joe Torre and Willie Randolph.
Watch them emerge from behind the sign, Len.
Yes.
We got a glimpse of Willie Randolph, third base coach, and Bob Watson, general manager, was on that float along with Joe Torre. I have a feeling you should be singing something now, Robert. This thing began. You have a few tones for us here?
You want me to sing the chorus?
Go for it.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Oh, it's root for the Yankees. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Right.
Bravo.
Give him a hand. Give him a hand.
How great is that? We can start the parade now. Robert Merrill, throw out the first ball. Let's go.
Let me go. Let's go.
Thank you, Robert.
We are now looking at the All-City High School band marching up Lower Broadway, festooned in red and yellow.
ever march in a parade in a band? I marched in a Columbus Day parade once. It's a wonderful feeling. Nothing can match this, I'm sure, though.
This is such a classic New York sight here to watch this, the parade up Broadway, and look at that.
Oh, Captain Ticker Tape!
The ticker tape is getting a little bit deep. Oh, that poor kid.
Oh, no.
Will he ever get out?
Let's hope so.
Well, you know what they say, everybody loves a parade, okay? Well, that's a given. Well, add to that, it's a parade for a baseball team that, you know, many people in the city just love anyway, win or lose. And now they win a world championship. And now you have a sunny day on top of that. And you got City Hall. I mean, I don't think it gets any better than this.
No, it doesn't. When you think about how the World Series started, we had that terrific Northeaster that came through here, delayed the series by 1 day. The weather was absolutely abysmal.
And that's Dwight Gooden with the tie. Right behind him is back to you. You see his profile, Joe Girardi, the Yankee catcher. But and Gooden, just another fabulous story. His no-hitter this year. That was a fairy tale in itself, which has gotten lost in this shuffle.
You know, in this year of the Yankees, one of the secrets to their success was that they went out and they got the players they needed this year. George Steinbrenner opened up the purse and said, bring in the stars from the elsewhere in baseball. We did the same thing. We have Michele Marsh and John Johnson joining our team here. Michele Marsh is standing by. We believe in the Yankees.
Are we going to win a championship now?
We're going to win the ring, aren't we, Michele?
Cool.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the cleanup crews are getting a real workout here, you guys, already at the corner of Broadway and Fulton. As you know, there's no more ticker tape, so we've got all kinds of confetti coming down here right now and toilet paper. I'm looking at kids down below buried in mounds of shredded computer printout paper. And you know, there are so many fabulous stories right now. Yankee fans with all kinds of backgrounds here today. And what's your name?
I'm Suzanne Beanie Jones.
And Suzanne, I know your husband is a diehard Yankee fan, but he can't be here today.
He had to work. He's on the road. He's a salesman. So I got laid off last Thursday, so I had nothing else to do. So I told him I'd come and be here for him instead. And I bought him a T-shirt, and I got to take lots of pictures for him. So it's almost like being here, I guess, for him. But he's really upset he couldn't be here.
Well, we hope you have a wonderful time.
Okay, yeah, you too.
Okay. Well, it's a real team effort, as you know, over the last year for the Yankees. And so many fans here with so many different favorites. A lot of Derek Jeter fans, Bernie Williams fans. Everybody having a great time here on Broadway, and we can't wait to see the first glimpse of the parade. Going to go now to John Johnson at City Hall. Hi, John.
Well, I guess John Johnson is just lost on that east side of City Hall for a second. And if there's an upside to being laid off, it's that you can come down. Did you hear what she said? She said her husband couldn't make it, you know, but she did because she had no job. Well, I guess, you know, for the day she feels good.
John Johnson, I understand we have John Johnson now at City Hall. John?
Hi there. Yes, we had a little trouble getting to this position from the crowd. As you can see, the crowd here has grown immensely. Just moments ago, this area was not this full. People are still flowing in here. They've come past the police barricades. They've basically pushed us up into this area here because we can hardly work down in the street area also. This crowd, this pandemonium, there's no doubt about it.
Hey,
okay?
guys, is this a politician's dream come true to be mayor of the city of New York and ride with the world champions right up Broadway? I mean, my goodness.
I think so. I think that this is, if there's any time any political leader should be in front of the crowds of people here, you know, this is the time. This is a jubilant crowd. Look at this. Now, I just want to give you a perspective. We're at Center Street in Park Row, which is on the east side of City Hall, and the bridge is right over here, and this crowd is just growing in leaps and bounds, and they continue to come out of the subway, and none of the chairs over here where the dignitaries will be seated are filled at all, but the crowd out here is just immense. We're expecting even more people to come to this area. Many stories and all Yankee fans, right? Okay, that's it from our position here.
All right, John, we're going to throw it now to Glenn Walker, who's with one of the Yankee players. Glenn?
Hey, Jim Laritz is standing here on the float. Jim? You can see all the paper flying down there. How's it look from on top of that float?
I'd say it's going to look kind of scary right now. All the people up in the windows and everything. Looking forward to it. We're going to have a good time together.
We saw you at the Ranger game the other night. How much rest have you had since the series?
Not a whole lot, but I don't expect to get any more for another week.
All right, have a good time. All right, let's go back to the studio.
All right, so David Cohn on the left, Jimmy Lewis is on the right. We had a glimpse of Joe DiMaggio with the governor. So talk about former Yankees, one of the all-time great Yankees and baseball players ever. Hall of Famer Joe DiMaggio, part of this parade today.
Certainly not more visible these days than he was immediately following his career, and it's wonderful always to see Joe DiMaggio. Not a lot of legends, and he certainly is one.
The parade is now reaching Al Roker's position. Al?
Well, Chuck, I'll tell you, we've got some of the police escorts, and as you look down, a phalanx of New York City motorcycle police, and beyond that, you can see the first phalanx of flags as well, and beyond that, the Macy's balloon with the baseball and glove. The crowd is now kind of getting all revved up. They're getting excited. You're starting to see, again, with all these police here, people can sense that that they're finally the object of their affections getting ready to pass on by here. It's amazing. They're all this confetti. You would think by now that folks would have run out of all this stuff, but it continues to come down. We have been blessed with perfect weather for the parade. Right now, temperature about 55 degrees. Got a light breeze and beautiful blue skies. And as you can see, it is pretty fabulous. Joe Avalar has a couple of friends over here.
Oh, we've got fans. We've got everything. I tell you, though, both Al and I have been to a lot of cities, seen a lot of parades, and I know Al would agree. Nobody does a parade better than New York City. The parade has barely started, and look at all the confetti that's falling down on Broadway. Now, remember, this is the 1990s, so a lot of these windows are boarded or blocked off. People can't get to these windows, and yet they're finding ways. Look at this building up here. We've got people hanging out of the windows here, throwing things out of the window.
Look at that cheer. We got the cheer going.
We got everything going. It's electric.
Here it is.
It's electric. Swing over here. We'll grab a bit. Is this a great moment?
Oh, this is awesome.
You're going to remember this for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Absolutely. Down here, the little kids are still waiting. Who are you holding all the confetti for?
No.
You don't know? You haven't picked a person yet?
I want to hit the Yankees.
Pino, maybe? Wade?
I made a baseball.
Hey, you got a baseball of confetti. That shows you how great kids are. They're sitting in the trash. They're enjoying it. They're having a great time. Wow. This is fun, isn't it?
Here we've got the first group right here, the honor guard coming down. And now this crowd's really getting revved up, Joe.
Oh, it's getting better and bigger and bigger. You can hear it build. You can really hear it build.
We can't hear ourselves, but you can hear the crowd, and that's what's most important. As you can see, the New York State flag, our American flag, the city of New York, the MIA flag, and now this parade's getting wound up, and people are getting redder. Let's go back down now to the Battery and Glenn Walker.
Ready? Okay, I'm by the Yankee float, and I'm looking up here at Dwight Gooden. Dwight, 10 years ago, you missed this parade with the Mets. How's it feel to be here today?
Well, it feels good to be here. I can close the chapter now. It took 10 years to get here, but we're missing anything. I'm just happy to take part.
What do you think of all that ticker tape flying in the sky you're going to be riding through in a couple of minutes?
Well, that's awesome. That's what it's all about. It's just a good opportunity for us to come here and share with all the fans who've been very supportive.
What are your plans for the offseason? I know you had to shut down because of the arm injury. What are you going to do in the offseason to get ready for next spring?
Well, right now I'm just going to rest till December 1st, and then I'll start over at the Tampa Complex and just rehab the shoulder. There's no serious injury, but I just needed some rest from the wear and tear.
Of course, you and Darryl Strawberry both with the Mets 10 years ago. It's already been announced that both of you will be back with the Yankees next year. That's got to feel mighty nice.
Well, definitely looking forward to that. It was just great getting Darryl here to kind of reunite a little bit, and same with Mel Stoudemire and David Cohn, and everything's working out great, and we're going to enjoy the rest of the day.
Can you talk about, just briefly, this team, you don't see a team concept anymore in sports. It's always individuals worried about personal achievements. That wasn't that way with this team this year.
This team had a lot of support for each other. It's a very caring team, both on and off the field, and that builds a lot of chemistry, and a lot of that credit goes to Joe Torre, the way he communicates with the players.
How does the love affair the fans have with the Yankees compared to 10 years ago with the Mets?
Well, it was great over in Queens, but I'm enjoying this moment right now. It's a different crowd, but it's a great crowd. They're very intelligent, they knows the game, they want a winner, and that's what we're giving them.
All right, enjoy the parade, and let's go back to the studio.
All right, Glenn Walker, thank you. And, during the series, Len, we got some glimpses of Dwight, And I couldn't help but wondering all the time, where was his head? Did he want to desperately be out there? Well, this was a team effort, I know.
Sure, he physically couldn't perform at the end of the season. They gave it a shot and then decided to leave him off the playoff and postseason roster. To follow up on an earlier thought that Chuck had about how George Steinbrenner paid all the money and brought in all the players, 2 points. Number one, that gave the Yankees a tremendous bench. It was a great advantage to bring people off the bench, and he was able to substitute a Charlie Hayes in there or a Tim Raines when he had to take him out, put in Darryl Strawberry, and Paul O'Neill sat. And Cecil Fielder played first base. And the point to be made in all this is never once did any of these star players who could have started anywhere, never once did they gripe. Never once did they go public with their complaints. You know, there's major egos involved, major dollars, and that was a real sign of what this Yankee team was all about and what Joe Torre was able to accomplish with the people that George Steinbrenner and Bob Watson brought in. That was the team spirit.
How do you think he accomplished that? How did Torre accomplish that kind of cohesion with this separate group of people?
My guess is that he just spoke to them man-to-man, one-on-one, and never let a player read something in the newspaper or hear it on the radio. There are oftentimes when a player hears he's not in the starting lineup because a newspaper reporter tells him. I have a feeling Joe Torre's first speech in spring training was, guys, I may take out Wade Boggs and pinch hit for him in the 8th inning. I know Wade's going to the Hall of Fame, but we want to win games. We're going to do this as a team. And I have a feeling that was his first speech, that we're going to do it together, not to gripe. I won't go to the newspapers, so you don't go to the newspapers. And he did it.
It is amazing that he was able to take such a diverse group, different nationalities, races, you name it. You couldn't take a more diverse group of people. In a way, it's sort of a microcosm of New York City.
Well,
these group of people, man, were welded together in one cooperative team that never said die.
And they had great respect for Joe Torre. Torre had been there. He was a tremendous baseball player. He wasn't just an average player who became a manager. He was one of the better players to ever become a manager, because they often say of major league managers they weren't very successful. I mean, Tommy Lasorda maybe pitched one game in the majors before he was sent down for Sandy Koufax way back when. Managers normally aren't great players. The great players don't become great managers oftentimes. Pete Rose tried, didn't do very well. The Babe Ruths don't become managers. But Joe Torre was a very good player, and I think the other current players respected that. He had been a manager, albeit fired, but he was in the National League, so I think they just respected the guy.
Now, there was something special, too, don't you think, Sue, about the fact that Joe Torre grew up in Brooklyn. He grew up cheering for the New York baseball Giants, going to the Polo Grounds. This man was New York to the bone, is New York to the bone. There he is now.
You know, you're talking about, well, I think let the moment speak for itself. He's getting quite an ovation. You know, Len, you were talking about George Steinbrenner, and Chuck were talking about George Steinbrenner spending all the money on the Yankees and how it worked out. How many remember when he paid all the money early on with Reggie Jackson and some of the other people? They got championships with Jackson, but there was a whole little time there where it really didn't work out despite all the money that he put in.
Oh, that's true. Just because you spend the money. Is that Kenny Rogers up on top?
It's hard to see, Len.
Could be. He certainly had an interesting postseason. David Cohn up front. Jimmy Leyritz taking pictures. It's a good thing he's taking pictures, because I don't think there's any video record of what's going on today. And the fact that Jimmy Leyritz is able to get a couple of snapshots, I think that's pretty good. I believe that's Kenny Rogers sitting up on top, the Yankee pitcher.
Well, you know,
for a great deal of money.
You're talking about interesting little personal dramas. Look at David Cohn, his personal drama this year, and what happened to him in the series after surgery and coming back. He got shelled in game 1. And
only after 4 innings, though, Chuck.
No, he pitched. Cohn pitched game 2. I'm sorry. Pitched game 3, the game where the Yankees started to make their comeback. It was Andy Pettitte in game 1 got shelled, Jimmy Key in game 2, and it was David Cohn in game 3 when the Yankees started to come back a bit. But David Cohn had been not tremendous in the earlier series. He wasn't a real stopper, and that's why people were concerned. I was concerned going to game 3 down 2-0, because Cohn wasn't sensational. He was when he first came back from aneurysm surgery. His first game back, tremendous. And can you imagine someone coming back from aneurysm surgery in the same season?
No, I cannot. But do you recall that during the game, the announcers were talking about if there was ever a money pitcher, a pitcher who won when the game was on the line, it was David Cone. And yet, I guess we all felt, yeah, but is his arm strong enough this time?
Mayor Giuliani now. Mayor Giuliani promised immediately after the Yankees won the World Series to throw the biggest parade in New York history here. He's got some distance to go because I think for Douglas MacArthur, they managed to get about 7.5 million people out for that parade. But this just looking around us right here at City Hall, I'd say that the mayor is close to delivering on that promise.
From the crowds along the route, it's certainly the only thing I have to compare it with is the Rangers 2 years ago. I think this will far surpass that. The crowds around City Hall appear much larger. They're even across the street on Park Row where they weren't 2 years ago. The people who are lucky enough to have seats around here at City Hall have been standing the entire time, and the parade isn't even going to get here for a while. They won't see any Yankees probably for another hour here at City Hall. But I'm told the people who have these seats are lucky enough to know somebody who works for the city. So
I don't know, but they were certainly here early.
Is that how that works?
There were Yankees here earlier who they were interviewing. I'm not sure who they were because we walked in just as they were finishing.
Okay.
But they've had some entertainment all along, standing or sitting.
There are some, more than 40 elements in this parade. It is quite a parade. Marching bands. And Michele Marsh is standing by along the parade route. Michele, what do you see?
Well, I am looking right now at the all-city marching band. We just saw the Macy's glove and ball go by, and I can't begin to tell you how exciting it is, Chuck and Sue and Len, to be in this swirl of joy and emotion and this celebration of victory. I wish everyone could go through this at least once in their lifetime. And you know, I'm standing here with a couple of kids who've been watching it all. This is such a special moment for you, right? Yeah. Who's your favorite Yankee? Derek Jeter. Really? Yeah. Would you like to be a professional baseball player? Yeah. And how about you? This is your brother, right? Yeah. How you doing? Is this fun? Yeah. Yeah. What do you like so far that you've seen?
All decorations.
Well, we're having a great time here. The crowd is going wild, and I think we just might set some kind of record for tonnage of confetti. We'll see when all the counts are in. John Johnson, how are you doing at City Hall? Okay, John's not there. We're going to go back to Chuck and Sue.
All right, that's a good call for the moment. Len and Chuck, I heard the Macarena playing behind us. I thought for a second that the grounds crew might be out here.
Oh, I think they're here.
I thought for a second you were going to invite us to dance.
The dragster ground crew.
Scary sight.
That does YMCA and did the Macarena. I believe they'll be a part of this celebration before it's all over.
We're looking at what's called Yankee Float A. The first Yankee float right now with Joe Torre and the mayor on board and various other Yankees.
You know, when I watch parades on television, I always think that's so organized. You know, we got the shot sheet about what's supposed to come next. We've already seen the Despers USA Steel Drum Band. I hope we see them again.
Yeah. Well, we have a shot now right behind us at City Hall. Actually, if we wave, we're on television there. We could see several people doing the Macarena, maybe 2 or 3 back there. I think maybe this will be the last time we'll ever hear the Macarena. It's going to run its course.
Do you know that the Chipmunks have a Christmas Macarena album?
Oh, no.
Anybody remember the Chipmunks?
Oh,
Len?
absolutely. Right. John Johnson, I think we finally established contact with you, or reestablished it amid all the mayhem and joy that you're experiencing.
All right, yes, we lost contact here. That's because the crowd here is crushing, so we've lost contact again. I hope you can hear me. I can't tell. Frankly, I've covered many of these celebrations like this, from the Gulf War celebration to the Mandela celebration, and frankly, I've never seen anything quite like this. The crowd is really jubilant. There is a little concern if we can pan over to this area over here, and remember, we're on the east side of City Hall. There were some complaints that it's so crowded in here that people are feeling that they're slightly being crushed in this area here. And as I said earlier, the crowd has pushed through the barricade here, and there are little children down in this area, and I hope no one gets hurt. but this is a jubilant crowd. And what's amazing, they can't see anything because from this vantage point, you cannot see the front of City Hall. You cannot see any of the parade. So these are people who just want to be here, and I hope that everyone is safe, okay? So that's about where we are right now. Let's go now to my colleague, Al Roker.
Thank you, John, and, well, you can hear it now. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. Your 1996 world champion New York Yankees. Listen to that crowd. There they come. How's it feel? How's it feel, Dan? They are digging this, and why not? Just incredible. What a crowd. It's amazing. The people here, the electricity, the people here just became electric. Were you excited?
Yes, sir.
What was it like when they went by?
It was fantastic.
Fantastic?
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd see anything like this?
No.
No, sir. That's right. Yeah, did you have a good time?
Yeah.
There's still, when everybody went by, who was your favorite?
I don't know.
You can't even pick. Jeter. We like, in fact, we got a sign across. They love Derek. Let's go back down to City Hall.
That was a great shot of the pitchers. You saw pitchers and catchers. Jimmy Lairich was in the front holding one of his children. As they pan toward the back, Andy Pettit, a young Yankee pitcher, waving. You know, they mentioned Jeter, and you think of Pettit. I mean, here are guys very early in their career. Jeter's a rookie. He's already a world champion.
Pettit's only, what, 24, 25?
And there's Lieutenant Governor Betsy McCoy, proudly wearing a Yankee jacket. Is she in that red Cadillac? One of them.
I'd have to see the tail lights before I knew what make of car it is, Charles.
You know who I wish they could have coerced to come here today? I thought of when the series was clinched was Don Mattingly.
Oh, yeah.
Mattingly joined the Yankees the year after their last World Series appearance and leaves the year before they win the World Series. He bridges that entire gap of 15 years without a World Series.
What timing? What timing, Alan?
The parade is now arriving in our area here at City Hall. The Macy's Ball and Glove has just moved back to our right here. It's going to circle around City Hall and come back. So they're approaching a very eager crowd here. Eager to see their heroes, the New York Yankees. Everybody on their feet here. They are not using these chairs.
I haven't seen Bernie Williams.
Well, that's what you saw was the first. As I said, the Yankee floats are interspersed throughout the parade. So up front were the pitchers and the catchers, but there'll be another outfielders float, which hopefully we'll get a shot of, an infielders float, and finally a relief pitchers float, which I'm told was going to be on a fire truck, that's what they call relief pitchers firemen, to put out the fire, and they of course are the big reason why the Yankees are world champions, that relief pitching corps led by World Series MVP John Wetland.
You know, chat among the folks that in the building that I live with is that the Yankees bench was so much stronger and the relief pitchers were so strong. They cited some statistic about Atlanta's hitting bench going over 20 or some statistic like that.
Well, the Yankee bench was spectacular, and that was a big reason, and the bullpen spectacular.
You know, a fellow I hadn't seen much of was the Australian chat, Graham.
Graham Lloyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham turned out to be quite a story, just another great story. He came over in a trade that was contested by the Yankees because Lloyd supposedly had an elbow injury, and he was just dreadful during the regular season to the point where he was booed off the mound. In fact, for the first playoff game against Texas, they introduced every single Yankee. Two were booed, Graham Lloyd and David Weathers, and the two of them proceeded to have spectacular. Well, there's another float. You see Wade Boggs off to the right. There's Mariano Duncan to the right on the front.
Mariano, a veteran to World Series play.
There's Bernie Williams off to the right, center fielder. So Cecil Fielder right in front.
This has got to be absolutely spectacular for Wade Boggs.
Yep.
Remember 1986, he was for the Boston Red Sox.
Sitting in the dugout.
Sitting in the dugout.
Special fielder taking pictures. Charlie Hayes right in front, looking through a fielder wants bigger applause. He didn't get enough when he played in Detroit, so now he wants a few more applause now with the Yankees. That's Andy Fox, the tall fellow with his head sticking up, a reserve infielder, and another of the Yankee floats as they go by.
I mentioned Mariano Duncan, Len. He played in a series with Cincinnati.
Right.
And now the Yankees and another team, it escapes my memory.
He's had World Series experience. It's great for some guy. And Paul O'Neill had a World Series ring with Cincinnati, but for almost the rest of them, this will be their first ring. And that will be a ceremony that will take place probably in the first or second home game of, probably the first home game next season. The Yankee ring ceremony when they raise the Yankee championship banner, which you can be assured will be another sellout at Yankee Stadium in the first days of '97.
Paul O'Neill probably remember this series for how much he hurt during the whole thing.
Really did, and he made a great play. I mean, made some
fading away out there.
Stretched as far as he could to catch that ball. That
gave us some suspense there, didn't he?
Yes.
You know, in your interview with George Steinbrenner, he made some interesting observations about Yankee fans as we look at thousands and thousands and thousands of them here. And Yankee fans, New York fans, do get a bad rap from time to time, and sometimes deservedly so. But certainly in this World Series, at the end when the New York Yankees won, it was remarkably contained.
Should I mention they were threatened with arrest?
All right, let's go to Glenn Walker, who's with one of the Yankees. Glenn?
Well, I was with one of the Yankees, but he just walked to the other side of the float to sign some autographs. David Weathers, can I get you to come back over here real quick, please? I don't think he can hear me. Why don't we go back to City Hall, and we'll give it a shot in a couple of more minutes.
Oh, great, Glenn. Just throw it to us.
That's relief pitcher Jeff Nelson, the short haircut.
I'd say very short, Len. That's almost no hair.
Yeah, well, that's about what Chuck was saying about the fans. People were worried 2 years ago when the Rangers clinched because there had been a history in hockey where when Montreal won their last championship, they tore up St. Catherine Street with looting and fires in Montreal. In fact, the night the Rangers won, Vancouver lost, and they tore up the streets in Vancouver. And this was big bad New York City with the Raptor weekend. And New York City was perfectly peaceful that night, and then now fast forward 2 years later to the South Bronx. I happened to be wandering the streets looking for a car with a couple of my kids well after the game was over, and it was just a peaceful feeling in the South Bronx. Everyone tells you what an awful place it is and how bad New Yorkers are. It was wonderful. People were coming by, people were honking their horns on cars, waving we're #1, but it was totally peaceful.
But Len, this city has a history of championships. We're used to this stuff.
Yeah, we're used to this stuff.
All of us desperately trying to find the names of these guys in the red. Well, Chuck, you know her.
I beg your pardon.
That's Miss New York, USA.
That one. Having a fine time.
We should identify them as the Emerald Society Fire Department. Tell me again in the control room, Diane. The Pipe and Drum Band. Okay.
You know, Jimmy Leyritz on the left with the cowboy hat was perhaps the most memorable play, I would think, of this World Series. Down by 3 runs in the 8th inning. When they're about to go down 3-1, Leyritz hit the 3-run homer, and David Cohn was the pitcher. He's with the fist there, waving to the crowd of that night in Atlanta when the Yankees had that tremendous 8-6 win in 10 innings. But that Leyritz home run, reminiscent of other great 8th-inning home runs in World Series past, Bernie Carbo in Game 6 of '75. Let's shoot you down to Glenn Walker. Glenn?
And I'm here with David Weathers. This is the last Yankee float. I guess this is the bullpen, right?
Yeah, we're always the ones bringing up the rear end, I guess. But, yeah, you know, this is a great parade. It's a little chaotic right now, but we're enjoying it.
Have you had a chance to look up Broadway and see all that ticker tape?
No, that's what we're all waiting to get into the flow of the parade. I mean, this is something you dream of since you was a little kid, and For it to be in New York City of all places, I mean, it's a dream come true.
You, of course, came over late in the season from the Florida Marlins. When that trade happened, is this one of the things that immediately came to mind was something like this?
The first thing that came to my mind is I was leaving the fourth-place team to go to a first-place team and had a chance to be doing what I'm doing right now, and it's a great feeling.
There's such a love-hate relationship between players and fans these days because of the big salaries, but it looks like New York City definitely has a love affair with this baseball team.
Well, I think, you know, we respect our fans. We think they helped us along the way, and we're just here to repay them.
All right, you're taking off. Have fun. All right, let's go back to City Hall.
David Weathers came to the Yankees the day that Cecil Fielder did. So Weathers was not even mentioned. It was like a way afterthought because the Yankees had pulled off this major trade. As you look at Darryl Strawberry, Yanks had pulled off a major trade, unloading Ruben Sierra to Detroit for Cecil Fielder. And then, oh, by the way, they sent the pitcher Mark Hutton to Florida for somebody named David Weathers, who came here and didn't do very well. And suddenly, like a wake-up call, Weathers and Graham Lloyd in the postseason, they were spectacular. And that's a big reason why they're cleaning up the rear on that relief pitching float as they come up Lower Broadway.
Glimpse once again of Darryl Strawberry.
Look at that crowd out there. Barely enough room for the floats to get down the street. And here's our police commissioner, I believe, Howard Safer.
Yeah, I liked his line. They actually asked him yesterday, was it proper that Wade Boggs rode on a police horse? And he, without missing a beat, he says, yes, it met every criteria of proper police etiquette. Boggs, of course, rode up on horseback as the Yankees clinched on the field, and the police presence was there. And that was one of the great sights of the end of Game 6.
Oh, no, I knew we'd see that again in the highlight reel. That was instant and for certain.
There was a moment before that when this has been written about when Wade Boggs stepped out in the field after the victory, and he, in tears, was standing out, overcome with emotion from the win. At long last, he had his World Series victory, and he said he looked up into the sky and he saw his mother's face, who had died 10 years earlier.
Right. She had died in a car accident, and Wade, a very, very emotional and superstitious man, said he looked up and saw his mom's face looking back at him at the instant of clinching. And I can't help but get emotional just thinking of him saying those words at that moment of sheer exuberance.
We were talking a little earlier, Len, about the 1986 World Series when the Mets were up against the Red Sox and Wade Boggs was a Red Sox. And to think about that Game 6, I was a little bit concerned watching this Game 6, thinking that in the 9th inning it could slip away on that last strike, too. Well,
while we were chatting, Chuck, did you happen to notice Chopper 4 making it through these buildings in this narrow passageway? Fabulous shots.
We got a glimpse there of John Wetland, the World Series MVP. I was, before they named the MVP, I was just asking anybody around Yankee Stadium who they thought might win that award. And some people said maybe Cecil Fielder, who had some key hits. Some people thought even Jimmy Leyritz for the big home run. But Wetland did have saves in all 4 of the Yankee wins, which had never happened before. And now the speculation begins as to his future with the Yankees. It's up to John Wetland. If he says, I stay, he has an option to stay for 1 year and be paid over $4 million. But he could have the option of saying, I don't want to stay for 1 year. I want a multi-year contract. So maybe the Yankees would now approach him with a multi-year contract before allowing him to test the free agent waters.
Can you imagine him wanting to go elsewhere after a championship, man?
Well, his quotes from in this morning's newspapers were, I want to stay, I want to be a Yankee. So I can't imagine why anybody would want to leave after what this team has done and what they've accomplished as a team. But, you know, these are the modern day athletes. You know, in the old days, when we rooted for the Yankees, we knew who the Yankees would be the next year. In this day in sports, you have no idea who's going to be playing for the team or managing the team or general managing the team from 1 year to the next.
And this was an era where there were no superstars, really, and this team.
On this team.
Yeah.
This was a team by its makeup that really didn't have that super duper. Although Bernie Williams was certainly edging in that direction as he became the most valuable player during the American League Championship Series. If he had continued that run through the World Series, everyone would have said, okay, they're anointing him the newest Yankee center field star in the tradition of DiMaggio and Mantle. But he cooled off a bit in the World Series, and everyone just picked up the slack, and there was no one single superstar. But you're looking at the float of relief pitchers.
Len, who do you see as you look at the current Yankee roster, the younger players? Who do you see as potential superstars down the road?
Well, I think you already have one at shortstop, and Derek Jeter. He will be the Rookie of the Year. The center fielder, Bernie Williams, is awfully young. I came out of spring training thinking that Andy Pettitte would be the ace of the staff, despite all the names like Cone and Key and Gooden and Rogers. And at least that was one prediction that turned out right. Well, there's Graham Lloyd all the way in the back on the right, the Australian, who did so well in the playoffs. Pettitte will be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League. So the Yankees, and to their credit, and George Steinbrenner's credit, a lot of the young players came out of his own system. He did not show impatience and trade them all away. So he's in good shape if he keeps these young players.
Graham Lloyd had kind of an interesting introduction to George Steinbrenner. George took a look at him and said, "It's too bad your barber died back in Australia." In other words, get a haircut.
And George claims ever since he got the haircut, his pitching improved. Well, that's what George said.
That's brilliant management, I'd say.
You were talking about Andy Pettitte, Len. The first game didn't do so well. I know he must have been thrilled in that second one.
Well,
he pitched.
that was the point. He comes in, starts game 1 of the World Series, and they lose 12-1. And now you know he has to pitch in game 5. And if the Yankees hadn't staged that 6-0 comeback in game 4, the pressure on him. Now he gets to game 5, and it's tied 2-2. So the pressure now is off the 5th game, but he delivered big time. They won 1-0. The only run in that game 5 was an unearned run scored by the Yankees. So he really came back, and he was great.
That was Smoltz was the loser?
It was the rematch of game 1. It was Smoltz against Pettitte.
Yeah.
That's Jeff Nelson right up front. Relief pitcher waving here. He had some fine moments, too. He was really pumped earlier in the playoffs. Great fastball, and he really came to play during the playoffs. How about Mariano Rivera to the right? He just went by. He may be the MVP of the Yankees during the regular season. A starting pitcher would go 6 innings and then turn the ball to Mariano Rivera for 2 before you get to Wetlands. So Rivera was magnificent.
He worked in the series.
With the city pass on, let them bring you down this side aisle to this doorway to the press office. Marie, please do that now. We have Renee. Also, we have 2 children who have been separated from their grandma.
Well, the initial plan was they were supposed to get to City Hall here, everybody, by 12:30. They may make it. And then there'll be a half-hour period where I think they gather inside for the reception. Then the official ceremony is supposed to begin at 1 o'clock. And that was great. If it was anything like the Rangers ceremony, every single player will be introduced and be handed this useless key to the city, which opens nothing, but it's a great big gold key.
And each one will have a speech?
Well, I don't think they'll all speak. You know what? These fans wouldn't mind if they did.
I know.
She's 12. She's been separated from her mom.
From what I can see, David Cone is really the most verbal and articulate guy on the team. At least he was given a lot of opportunity to speak this season.
David's always been very good with the media. Another sign of this team, and I think of it when you mention Cone, is it's not how they do in victory that the media appreciates, but how when times are tough, how the players react. And when Cone has a tough loss, he'll stand, right there, right in his locker, ready to go. He had a tough loss in the playoffs against Baltimore, and he's right there. I mean, he'll talk to you. No problem.
There was a fabulous shot from Chopper for a little pirouette over the canyons of New York City.
Cecil Fielder on the left, Charlie Hayes in the middle. That's Derek Jeter on the right. There he is, shortstop Derek Jeter on the right of that trio.
Did I get my wish? Here's the Yankees ground crew.
Here we go. The dragsters.
Hey, back of there. Oh, they are. Oh, they wouldn't mind it. Well, I'm a beat.
Well, they have several routines worked out here for us.
Steinbrenner credit for that too. He saw that performed elsewhere and said, I want my grounds crew to do that. And that's unusual for Georgia. There's no mascot. There's no, other teams have these fuzzy characters that run around the stands whose mascot. Yankees don't do that. There's no cheerleaders. New York's, football teams don't have that. It's not New York. They have cheerleaders at some of these events. But Steinbrenner saw the grounds crew and said, let's do it. That's fun. That's entertaining. And he brought it here, and the crowd loves it.
Speaking of that's entertainment, Mr. Al Roker, out with the people.
Well, I'm telling you, Sue, it's incredible. Chant went up as Cecil Fielder went past for Big Daddy, and quite frankly, Big Daddy is my favorite. I like to see when the big man can actually do something here. And this crowd just went wild. We got some more folks over here. So, who was your favorite that's gone by so far?
Jeter!
Derek Jeter? Why do you like Derek Jeter so much?
Beautiful!
So he's kind of a hunk?
Big Daddy! You like Big Daddy? Big Daddy!
Why do you like Big Daddy?
For you, Al!
Everybody likes the big guy. You gotta like Big Daddy. We like Big Daddy, and we like Big Sue and Big Chuck and Big Len. Let's head on back to City Hall.
Mr. Big Daddy Al Roker is not as big a daddy as he used to be.
No,
Silence reigns on the...
Looking svelte.
To the one and the only, Mr. Eddie Layton.
I love the organ guys.
Yeah, we're being entertained nicely here at City Hall. We have, between announcements of children separated from their parents, parents separated from their children in the crowd here, the usual sort of housekeeping that attends these massive events. We're getting organ music and...
I was trying to decide if that was the fan float. There is a float devoted to Yankee fans. And on that float, among others, will be, remember that fella Pee-wee who stood in the line the longest for the ticket?
Oh, yes.
First in line for play. Pee-wee Scheidt is supposed to be on that float. There's another guy named Freddie Schumann who bangs a pot in the upper deck constantly during the games. He was supposed to be on that float. So I believe we had a glimpse earlier of the Yankee fan float.
Lovely in her crown. Lovely in her Yankee shirt.
And I don't know if you can hear it at home, but we've got Yankee Doodle Dandy playing behind us, which is lovely to listen to on such a perfect day.
The one, the only Eddie Layton, nimbly fingering his way along. I don't know, then that may be the Yankee fan float. And maybe not. Pick it up, girls. There you go.
Keensburg High School. What band is this? Manasquan. It's Manasquan High School. Manasquan, New Jersey. How are you? Manasquan.
Len just plucked somebody's bank ledger right out of the sky
What's
here.
very funny is these papers keep floating by, and this one is from Chemical Bank. I guess someone applying for a loan. So these papers just keep flying out of the sky. Every time I grab one, I say, "This just did." It's a little clever news talk, you know. I mean, anyway, this poor guy's not going to get his loan.
More detail.
I just rejected it.
I'm assuming it's Tom Frick and Chopper 4 with some reporting on some lovely maneuvers.
Well, we ought to be able to see him. He's hovering nearly overhead right now.
Boom, 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 boom.
We're being treated to a medley of famous baseball park tunes right here, including...
And Len is threatening to break out in song. I'm trying to hold him back.
Well, Len has got to be a very happy guy. I know, Len, you do an awfully good job of maintaining your professional objectivity doing the sports, but I have a suspicion you've been a secret Yankee fan for a long time.
Well, as a kid, I was a very public Yankee fan. I'm one of those generation of kids who grew up in New York when there were 3 baseball teams, and you chose your allegiance based on a center fielder. It was either Mickey Mantle, Duke Snider for the Dodgers, or Willie Mays for the Giants. My dad was a Yankee fan. He had always regaled me with stories about how he had gone to Yankee Stadium and had seen Babe Ruth play, and how he had this big bat that looked like a toothpick in his hand. And of course, like any kid, I was impressionable about home runs, so I became a Mickey Mantle fan. Growing up in Queens, I suspect if I grew up in Brooklyn, I would have been a Dodger fan. And as I've said on the air, for the first 18 years of my life, the Yankees were in the World Series 15 of those 18 years. So it was just part of my life.
As a Dodger fan, I painfully remember.
Yeah, sure. And I painfully remember 1955. I cried after that World Series. But the first thing we do is we wake up in the morning, and Mom would be listening to the radio, and we'd say, "Did Mick hit one last night? Did Mantle hit one? Did Maris hit?" I mean, that's how we grew up on the Yankees. So, yeah, it's hard to sometimes keep your objectivity, but the easy part is these Yankees playing now are not the same Yankees who played back then. Obviously, they're wearing the same hat and the same uniform. So you learn to realize when you cover sports journalism that fans are rooting for uniforms and hats and logos oftentimes, and maybe not for specific players.
Well, your job as a journalist is, in a way, a lot more interesting than the Red Barbers and the Met Allens, in that more news comes out now. It's much tougher coverage, much like the presidents were never really reported tough on. I don't think there would have been a time when we would have talked about maybe Babe Ruth took one tip too many, or that sort of thing, you know?
There was a certain fraternity. I mean, the media, the newspaper writers would travel by train with the Babe Ruths, and they would sit and drink with them, and it was just, you just wouldn't write that kind of stuff. And I don't know, there's a part of me that says maybe you shouldn't. Is it really important that a guy has a drink somewhere, or is it important what he does on the playing field? So it's a very different era. It's a very different kind of sports coverage, but it's still kind of neat when your hometown team wins, whether you're a journalist or not.
Oh, you betcha.
Talk about shoveling sand against the tide. We just saw one lone sanitation worker out there with one lone broom trying to clear the way for this particular fire truck.
We call it A for effort, Charles.
One more batch.
While we're looking at this float coming down Broadway, just for a personal moment, if you two don't mind, I have a nephew named Andrew Scarborough who has been going through a very difficult time. He had a ruptured appendix, and complications arose from that. So he's been in the hospital now for 2 weeks. He's got another week to go, and he's had 3 procedures done to try to. He's 10 years old. He's at Lawrence Hospital in Bronxville, and I just wanted to say hello to Andrew and wish him well. He's watching the parade right now, so we assume that everything is going well and that he's going to be home in another week.
Well, hello, Andrew from Sue, and I certainly hope this is one of the days where you feel pretty good, Andrew.
And Andrew, if you're not a Yankee fan, I'm coming after you, okay? Look at these crowds swelling near us around City Hall, out into Park Row. I can't even guess how many tens of thousands of people there are. As far as the eye can see, everyone wearing Yankee caps and Yankee jackets, and everyone just standing peacefully. I can't wait to hear the roar that goes up when the Yankees actually appear here on the podium behind us.
It's going to be interesting. I wonder whether we'll be able to hear ourselves. That's not important.
They won't have to.
That's right.
That's the last float, the relief pitchers featuring the World Series MVP. John Wetland. There's John applauding. Not bad. Here are a few fans chanting MVP as he went by.
Sounds like Al's having a good time down there, doesn't it?
Well, he's organizing things, Chuck.
He is, yeah, directing the parade. This doesn't need a lot of commentary. You take a look at this scene. It speaks for itself. Look at these. Look at this shower of confetti.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Director.
Al, are you down there now?
Yes, I am. And, ladies and gentlemen, here they come, probably for the last time, we hope. We got the New York Yankees ground crew, and guess what they're performing? Everybody, come on, let's go! There they go! Woo! They're doing the Macarena! That's right! Hey! 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 All right, way to go! Yes, everybody in New York, let's all do the Macarena! Oh! Joe Avalar, you can do the Macarena! Come on, Joe! Show me now, show me! Come on, let's all do the Macarena! I did it! That's it! We don't have to do the Macarena ever again! It's all over! Let's go back to you guys!
Yeah, those guys are a parade unto themselves, aren't they?
Well, I have a hunch we're behind schedule, ladies and gentlemen. They're all supposed to be at City Hall by now, and they're not.
No. But this gives us an opportunity to be on television even longer, man.
Okay, cool.
There's our friend Robert Merrill trying to warm the crowd up as though it needs it here.
Hey! Do I see empty seats?
Oh, they'll be filled. Rest assured, those are reserved for super duper politician friends. They'll be filled.
Roberto!
Everybody's in good voice. We're waiting for them to come. They'll be here in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, we'll have everybody. Yes, the whole gang will be here.
I don't know if you could hear that at home, but Robert Merrill is announcing right now the Yankees will be here at City Hall in about 20 minutes.
I've had the pleasure.
Now, you know he knows this.
Len just got another message from on high.
From the New York
Why is it
City
all falling on
Housing Authority?
Len? The confetti seems to be targeting Len. See some strange little eddy of air above you. Don't mention names, Len.
Well, this is telling a landlord that somebody just passed away. This is not very cheerful.
Well, I don't think so.
Your prompt attention to this matter would be greatly appreciated. I don't think they're going to get prompt attention. These must be like carbon copies of old files.
Of course.
What's the date on this? 1993. So
yeah.
Somewhere we're saving a lot of paper.
Isn't that wonderful? God bless you all.
Well, you know, this week we were joined by two members of Channel 2's team, Michele Marsh and the one and only JJ, John Johnson. Out with the people, John.
Oh, thanks, Sue. Well, we're here. We've discovered a lovely little group of youngsters here. They're 4 and 4.5 years old, and we're sort of trapped in this crowd here. What school are they from?
They're from Smiling Faces Daycare.
The Smiling Faces Daycare. Do you have any worry in this large crowd? These
No,
small
not
children?
really.
No?
Because we're backed against the corner, so the crowd is passing behind
Well, they
us.
can't see anything.
No,
Whose
not
decision
really.
was it to bring them down?
Our teacher.
Your teacher? Why did you bring the children down?
Because it's the Yankees, and also, even though they can't see, it's an experience that they could be out and be around the crowd and see what it is to be out here. This is Brookline.
What's your name?
Mrs. Didier.
Okay. Yeah, well, I hope that the children are okay. Are you having a good time even though you're not seeing anything?
Yeah.
Huh?
Very loud.
Do you know who the Yankees are?
The baseball team.
The baseball team. I think they're a little bewildered by all of this. The crowd here, I must say, has been in great control, and the police department is doing a great job here, even though it's bewildering over on this side because no one can see anything. I keep saying that, but I think they just have to be here to bear testimony, and I hope these children are going to be safe as you try and get through this crowd, okay? That's live from us. We'll go back to City Hall now. Thanks.
All right, John, thank you very much. Fascinated by the blizzard that rises and falls in front of our eyes here of this confetti.
I want to read each and every one of those papers, Chuck.
So far, I've been somewhat fascinated by what Len has come across here. These sort of
there's
interesting little tidbits from New York's life.
Those trees over next to City Hall are now just strewn with paper that somehow landed up in the trees, and you see the papers continue to float down from the sky, and see the fans up on those buildings over there waving. It's a great sight.
Let's do our part and climb up the tree afterwards and take that stuff down.
Fine. I'll be right behind you, Sue.
Now, once again, as we look around here, we couldn't have had a more beautiful day for this. This is a perfectly clear sky, flawless. It's crisp and cool. A wonderful day to be hanging off a balcony throwing paper. Len Walker is standing down at
yeah, that's
Park.
That's that parapet we were just talking about. That's where we were looking over to the left of City Hall. That's a great spot.
They have a fabulous
12, 14 stories up there.
Glenn Walker, we're with you.
Okay, with me here is a gentleman named Alex Satava. He is a banker from Switzerland. He's been here for a year, working for Chase Manhattan Bank. Went to a couple of Yankee games this year. But you're a bit flabbergasted by all this parade and ticker tape, aren't you?
Yeah, it's incredible. I really like the energy of the plates, although I didn't see that much of the parade that much, but it's a lot of people, but I like the energy, you know.
Now, you said you went to a couple of games at Yankee Stadium this year, and how did you enjoy the game?
It was great. I didn't understand all the rules yet, but it's just fun to be there, you know, and see how the people enjoy the games, and it's like an afternoon pleasure thing, you know.
Now, if a team back in Switzerland, say a hockey team or a soccer team, does something like this, do the people get this excited about it?
Yeah, they do, but they don't have the things to build up a parade like this. You know, it takes them much longer to do a parade like this. It was incredible that they knew on Saturday, and now after 2 or 3 days, they can make a parade like this.
So maybe when you go back home, you can give them some new ideas.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, thanks for talking with us. All right, let's go back to City Hall.
All right, I just got the paperwork on him from his bank. That fellow he was talking to, that just he's just been sent home. He probably doesn't know. So.
But you know,
can you imagine, though, trying to explain baseball to somebody who has no concept of it, how complicated a sport that is to try to, for somebody in Switzerland?
It's a wonderful thing about the World Series because it attracts everybody. You know, people that didn't even look at a baseball game all year are really, really into it.
Well, that's the point. It attracts sports fans and non-sports fans. The rating in New York for the final moment of clinching may have been the largest television rating of any kind in any activity that's ever been recorded. I think it was well over a 50 rating, not a share, a rating if you know the TV lingo, and it was just huge. And even the Super Bowl doesn't get that kind of a number, even when the Giants played in the Super Bowl.
But isn't it tricky trying to watch a World Series game and have someone sitting next to you wanting you right then and then to explain the rules of the game to you? You know?
And you keep them in your house?
Well, Mom was one of them. So there are 3 outs. Yes, Mom.
Please.
And she wants to know what's going on.
She is absolutely...
Send her over to my house. I'll explain it to her.
Bedazzled by what's going on today. All of this activity is bedazzled as a fellow from Switzerland. It is interesting, Len, about baseball. Despite everything that's happened, despite the strikes and the talk about the salaries and the player-manager disputes and everything, baseball still is the quintessential American sport. And it somehow, I think, a city identifies more closely with its baseball team than anything else, still to this day.
It seems that way. Of course, we are fortunate enough in New York to have all the major sports. So in cities where they don't have it, they may identify more, you know, certainly with a college football team if you're in that kind of community, or a college basketball team or professional football or of basketball. But baseball always, for me, was the sport that was here first. It's played every day. It's not once a week like football. And it's something you get caught up in a pennant race, even though the pennants have been watered down with playoffs and now another round of divisional playoffs. But there is something about baseball. I saw it during the Mets World Series. You see it during the Yankee World Series. It seems to draw people together, and it does overcome all of those problems you talked about in professional sports when you win. I mean, winning is the great elixir for everybody. I mean, when your team wins, then all of a sudden you forget who's making what and who got traded and who you like or don't like. All of a sudden, everything's wonderful. Nothing succeeds like success.
I think, though, this is going to be good for baseball generally. This sort of celebration of the New York Yankees, I think, reinvigorates the entire sport.
Well, the mayor's made it to City Hall, so I assume that most of the Yankees have as well.
Well, those few who were sitting are now on their feet here. I think they sense that something big is happening. Mayor Giuliani taking a bow there. And where Mayor Giuliani is, Andrew can't be too far behind. His son, Andrew, has really had a wonderful World Series here, hasn't he? He was in the locker room immediately after the clinching.
That's certainly something a lot of kids don't have an opportunity to do, and he will remember that, I'm sure, in his entire life.
There's our overhead shot from Chopper 4. We're kind of at the bottom of the screen right now. If you look right next to the 4 on your screen, that's about where we're sitting. So we have a pretty good vantage point if we turn around and look over our shoulders back at City Hall. Al, I see that you're signing a few autographs down there, eh?
Well, somebody rubbed his head. Oh, no, Mr. Bill.
There we go.
Al, are you in contact with us?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Well, I think we're doing a little better than you are. You seem to be.
What?
You seem to be awash in fans
well,
and affection.
I'll tell you, it's interesting. Have you guys, so was it worth coming down for?
Oh, it's the greatest thing in my life. I've been waiting all my life for this.
Really?
Yeah, it's so cool. There's nothing like it.
Did you have was it worth the wait?
Yeah, it was the best. Best Yankees. Go Yankees. Go, go.
Oh, no.
This has been going on all day. Whoa, okay. Whoa.
I don't know.
I want to be down there with Al.
Yeah. You see, if I'm George Steinbrenner, I'd be out there passing out season ticket applications right about now, selling some tickets, because you heard what he told us last night. He said, well, if the fans came out during the regular season to Yankee Stadium the way they did during the playoffs and World Series, then there'd be none of this talk about the Yankees moving elsewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has some people handing out some applications. Be a smart move.
Hopefully they'll be heading right to Yankee Stadium and not elsewhere.
Well, I think that's an open issue. I mean, George Steinbrenner has seen what teams have done in other cities with beautiful new ballparks in Texas and Baltimore and Cleveland with luxury boxes. And he's saying, well, what about mine? And while I'm a traditionalist and I grew up liking the Yankees and something special about the Bronx, in this day of economics and what's going on in sports, you have to be able to at least understand his point of view, even if you don't agree with it.
It's a little hard, though, Len, when you think about the tradition attached to that ballpark in the Bronx.
No, it is. I mean, there was no greater feeling for me as a kid than coming out of the subway, out of the dark, and at that time you'd be able to look into the old Yankee Stadium and see the green grass, and of course we had black and white TVs, so we thought it was the greenest green we'd ever seen in our lives. And you come out of the dark subway and see the green grass of Yankee Stadium. We figured we had died and gone to heaven. I mean, those monuments out in the field, the center field. So there is a certain tradition attached to it, and yet, you know, from that standpoint, there's no and yet. But the other side of the coin is, if someone can put up a fabulous stadium somewhere and it can somehow be done without the taxpayers getting gorged and makes it more accessible for Yankee fans, who knows? Maybe there are other points of view. I'd hate to see the New Jersey Yankees, but then again, the Giants moved from old Yankee Stadium, and they were very successful and won 2 Super Bowls playing in New Jersey, and every Jets and Giant game is sold out. So, and there's more parking. So, I mean, there's two
but
sides
they didn't
to
have Babe
every
Ruth.
point. What's that?
They didn't have Babe Ruth, Len.
Yeah, that's true.
And there are those that say if you can see the Empire State Building from wherever you play, you're a New York team.
Okay. Okay. Well, the seats around City Hall are starting to fill up as I guess the fans start to sense that we're getting at least closer to the official ceremony.
Well, we are by the printed schedule about 17 or 18 minutes away from the beginning of the ceremony here at City Hall, where you will see the presentation of the keys and there'll be some speech making.
Now, my goodness gracious.
Well,
they know how to clear a crowd, don't they?
Yeah, somebody brought his pet boa constrictor or python or whatever that was for the parade.
We know that it's large, Chuck.
Well, you know, you want your pet to enjoy the festivities too.
Yes.
If you've got a snake, bring it. Well, look at that. Sanitation is doing a very good job here. This is it will be interesting to get the tonnage on all this paper that fell. This, of course, is all going to be recycled, right?
I was thinking, where are they pushing it and where will it go? Back up to the top of the roof and thrown down again.
It's remarkable that in this age of the information superhighway, where there's a computer on every desk and the world is supposed to be electronic, there is still that much paper.
Charles, I think I heard a crescendo behind us. Probably just beginning of several, huh?
I think we have a moment of blessed silence here at City Hall, relatively speaking.
They are preparing the stage for what will be the official ceremony. They have some Yankee balloons on both sides. The yellow chairs there is where the Yankees will sit.
Easy for me to say, welcome to the 1996 Rally of Champions. My name is Lionel from News Talk Radio 77 WABC, and good afternoon. I'm so glad to be here, and again, the quicker you take your seats and the quicker we clear the aisle, the quicker everything will commence. I want to repeat, unofficial/official crowd estimates, actual numbers, 3.5 million. Atlanta couldn't do that with a whole state.
Well, we've just heard, I presume you heard that over the microphones here, that the unofficial estimate from Lionel of WABC Talk Radio is we have 3.5 million people.
Well, then it must be true.
Got to be. Why don't we take a break? We'll be back in just a minute. We'll continue our coverage of this magnificent day in New York as the Yankees are being hailed as world champions.
Today on News.
From Chopper 4, hovering over Manhattan right now, we're looking down on City Hall. This is the scene of a magnificent celebration for the New York Yankees, World Series champions, as the parade winds its way up towards the Canyon of Heroes.
Chuck,
City Hall.
I understand we have Jimmy Leyritz on a cell phone. Is that true, Jimmy? Jimmy, you there?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in City Hall.
So what was it like driving up Broadway?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. The crowd was ridiculous.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that all this would happen to you in the New York Yankees?
No, not at all. You know, I was at the Ranger game the other night. These guys told me you don't know what to expect, but appreciate what you're going to have tomorrow. And I tell you what, they're right. This thing was unbelievable.
Jimmy, you were with the Yankees when things weren't so hot. I mean, can you chronicle a little bit your Yankee history over the last few years?
Yeah, well, I got here in 90, 91, and 92. We were pretty much fighting just to stay out of last place. And over the years, we've developed this ball club into a good team. George has gone out and get the guys we needed. And this year, we put it all together finally and won the whole thing.
Jim, this is Chuck Scarborough. Tell us what's going on inside City Hall right now.
Well, we're just eating a little bit, trying to come down from that excitement. Basically, we...
What's on the menu?
Everything. you can think of they have here. They got all kinds of pastas, all kinds of chicken meals and stuff. It's just little appetizers before we go over to the mansion to have the barbecue.
Is this all prepared by Donna Giuliani?
I believe it is, yes.
Uh-huh. Hey, Jim, are you amazed by the celebrityhood that has come as a result of your big home run the other night?
Not yet. I mean, I realize it a little more and more every day when I'm out. You know, the Ranger game the other night, I think I carried a little crazy, but haven't really noticed it much. But it's starting to hit me now.
In your heart of hearts, when you were trailing Atlanta 2-0, do you think we'd be sitting here on a cell phone today talking like this?
I don't think anybody thought that. I think everybody thought if we could just win 2 out of 3 down there and maybe just get back to where we can finish this thing at home, then we would, you know, we'd have a chance. But I don't think we ever expected to take those 4 games just like that.
What's this off-season going to be like for you?
What's that?
What is this off-season going to be like for you?
Well, I can't actually wait till I get home because it's going to be nice to be able to relax. But I'm going to stay up here about another week and enjoy it. And like I said, just have a good time with it.
Jimmy, we're showing on TV now your home run in that dramatic game number 4. And you remember what you were thinking when you were rounding the bases?
Well, I was kind of flashing back to the Seattle thing. And at the same time, I realized, you know, it was a big home run and everything, but at the same time, it just tied the game up. And I knew we had a lot more game to play. And like I said, I was just hoping that we win that game. So, because after we won the Seattle game, we lost those 3 straight games. It wasn't too good of a feeling. But to finally complete this and hit a home run like that, yeah, it was a great feeling.
All right, Jimmy, enjoy your lunch. Thanks for coming on with us, and enjoy the rest of the ceremony today.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. Jimmy Leyritz harking back to his game-winning 15th inning home run in the Seattle series at Yankee Stadium a year ago, and then they went on and lost the series in Seattle. And he's thinking all this, I guess, when he's rounding the bases. And I hit a big one a year ago, but we only tied this game. The irony, the Yankees have been behind and trailing and making comebacks. From the moment he hit that home run, Yankees have never trailed again ever in any game. They went on to win that game. They went on to win Game 5. They went on to win Game 6. Never trailed in either of those games. So that home run sparked the Yankees to what we're looking at right now on our television screen.
Well, I certainly remember the night well. We were sitting in the studio. You were away on the road. We were kind of giving up hope. It was 6-0, and the Yankees were losing, and it looked pretty grim. And all of a sudden, things turned around remarkably. It was an amazing night.
It is amazing. It wasn't quite the miracle of the Mets in Game 6 when they were down 2 runs and down to their last strike with nobody on base, and they proceeded to score 3 runs, topped off by the Mookie Wilson ground ball between Bill Buckner's legs. But this was quite a comeback, and I have a feeling if this game had been a Game 6 or a Game 7, it would be even more so. But in Yankee lore, this game will be right there as the top games of all time. Well, you want to shoot it over to John Johnson now? Sure. Let's do that.
Well, you go ahead and do it now.
Go ahead, John. Take it away.
All right, we're over here in the cheap seats. We're holding our own over here. We're at Center and Park Row on the east side of City Hall. We can't see anything, but it doesn't make any difference, obviously, because everyone is having a great time over here. And as you can see, these ladies have climbed to the top of this. Hold on now. Hold on. Let's not fall and hurt ourselves. All right. I'll tell you, it's been really good. It's been really good over here. Everyone has been behaving very well. The police have been doing a great job, and everybody here is in a good mood. Even though we can't see Darryl Strawberry, we can't see the front of City Hall, and I just wonder, why are you enjoying this?
Because we love the Yankees!
Okay, you love the Yankees, but you're basically out of the celebration. I mean, you can't see anything.
It's all right. We run.
That's it. It's just fun. Why did I forget that? So we're having a good time over here in the cheap seats, in the bleachers. We'll see you later.
All right, John, a little more seniority, we move you up out of the cheap seats. You know?
Now, did you get the feeling that he can't see from there?
I sort of did, yeah.
There are a lot of people out here because I could see as far as I can look. There are people a block away, and there's no way they can even come close to getting a glimpse of anything here.
It looks like it snowed.
Well, it does, doesn't it?
Tom Frick doing 360s in Chopper 4. Congratulations to you, Tom. As a pilot, Chuck, you can appreciate that.
I can. I've been scanning the skies here, hoping to get a little glimpse of Chopper 4. I see the MetLife blimp overhead. Oh, there's Chopper 4 right behind us, making a pass.
And Chopper 4's shot is the last shot we're going to see as we take a short break, and we'll get back with you in just a moment.
There is something going on in this house. Windows flapping open and closed, and the mug's moved. This is spooky.
A haunted house comes to life.
Nice costume, Jake.
Halloween with ghouls and goblins.
It's me!
And trick or treats.
Nick, what are you doing?
But when the lights
Nothing to be afraid of.
go out,
Where's Kirkland?
the real ghosts come out.
Who are you?
Another World, today at 2, only on NBC4.
Well, we're back with the festivities, and we're joined by the one, the only, Michele Marsh, back from the rooftops.
That's right. You know, live television can be an awful lot of fun, you guys. And what happened was the fans were so excited where I was on Broadway in Fulton, and they got up on our microwave truck and they completely destroyed our microwave dish. It just fell apart. So anyway, I made my way through the crowds. It was actually a lot of fun, you know, talking to the people, looking at the souvenirs, and the police helped me get to you, which was not an easy thing. But anyway, here I am.
But here you are, exhausted and happy.
That's right. That's right. Terribly happy to be here, though. But what a magnificent sight it was to see the Canyon of Heroes, the confetti raining down. It was just a thrill of a lifetime. I was up by St. Paul's Church. I was kind of in the middle of the route, and the cheers for the pitchers were incredible. Also, Derek Jeterland, he got really just
Look at this.
A fabulous round of applause.
Look at this shot. Well, we're having a bath of confetti.
It is.
Somewhere out there. It's a confetti fight. It's a food fight, folks.
It does. It's sort of a combination jacuzzi and confetti fight here. I don't know how they're doing this. What goes down goes back up in New York.
Okay.
So other than the fact that the fans destroyed our microwave truck, how was it out there with the crowds, Michele?
It was great. I mean, the people are just so classy, so incredibly polite and well-behaved, and it's a magnificent moment. I especially loved watching it through the eyes of the children. I was up with a couple of little boys. One of them was a little leaguer, and to see their faces when they saw their heroes come down Broadway, I think they will remember that for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Well, I see somebody else has emerged from the crowd here, too.
Yes,
Let's see if we can get Gabe Pressman.
We only have 4 chairs. Can I
Gabe?
give my seat to Gabe Pressman?
No, we'll get Gabe on here. Come on up.
Okay. Oh, we'll get Gabe on in just a minute.
Gabe will be on in just a few moments.
When we bring Gabe on, let's not tell him, oh, too bad. I wasn't going to tell him he had a head full of confetti. I thought it was sort of interesting for you folks at home to see Gabe Pressman covered with confetti, but he's being dusted off now prior to his appearance.
You know, before we get to Gabe Pressman, fans always want to know. It's amazing how fans in the media are. Okay, the Yankees have won, so the first question is, well, who's going to be here next year? You know, what about the general manager? What about the players? So, of course, when I talked to George Steinbrenner last night, I said, okay, who's going to come back? And he said, definitely Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden. So let's listen to some of that interview with George Steinbrenner from last night.
If you know who Adriana Ferrante is, if you belong with her, please find a police officer and ask him to bring you to the City Hall press office. Adriana Ferrante. Thank you.
Well, that may have been one of the shortest appearances by George Steinbrenner ever.
Awfully soft-spoken, I believe, after winning. Very humble man after winning the championship.
And he only had a tiny little part of the screen, too, which was uncharacteristic. George generally requires the entire screen. We're still working on that, Len. We'll try to get that back a little while later, and we'll listen to George Steinbrenner. I did enjoy your interview with him because, you know, in that interview, I thought that George kind of let his guard down a little bit and talked a little more frankly last night. And he also mentioned what he might like. We had sort of larger plans for Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden. He brought these guys back not just to return them to baseball and help the Yankees win, but he thinks they can be good role models for the country.
Well, I'm going to take another swing at this. I have strike one. Let's, here comes the pitch, and let's listen to George one more time.
Darryl and Doc, passing their physicals, definitely will be back because they're part of a family that I'm trying to work with. I have bigger plans for those two young men and what they can mean to America as leaders.
Can you give us a hint?
Yeah, sure. If a teacher or a psychologist or a drug fellow therapist, people who have a dependency problem, or George Steinbrenner, or you stand up and you say to them, remember, don't use drugs, it's bad. It doesn't mean, it means something, but not what it does if Darryl Strawberry or Doc Gooden stand up and say, hey, I've done it, and you can come back from it, so kick the habit and get rid of it. And I see them as tremendous examples in this country, I really do, because boy, did they come back. Oh, and they're tested 3 times a week, unannounced.
Bob Watson, is he coming back?
Coming back. He's got a contract. He's coming back. I never said he wasn't.
Your general manager sometimes says things that lead you to believe otherwise.
Well, that's Bob. It's not me.
Yankee Stadium, you going to stay there?
We have not made a decision whether we're going to stay or what we're going to do. We just concentrated on trying to win the World Series for New York and for Yankee fans. And now we'll get about the business of addressing some other things that are in front of us and what we wanted.
You sold out when it counted. The fans were peaceful in the Bronx. Hey, maybe it's not such a bad place to play.
I'm tired of hearing other cities criticize New York fans. I don't want to hear it anymore. No fans were ever better behaved than those New York fans that last game. Did they jump on the field and tear up the grass? No. Did they tear up the bases and home plate? No. They were very well behaved, and we've got the most knowledgeable fans in the country, and they were great. And they were in other cities, too.
But that's the point. Maybe the Bronx is a good place to play.
If they would come all year like they did for the playoffs and World Series, you might be right. We have to consider all those things, and we will.
Well, George Steinbrenner, your interview from last night. I see the governor. There's George Pataki there, kind of in the center of your screen, a little to the left right now, arriving. Maybe Betsy McCoy next to him, I can't quite tell. The Lieutenant Governor.
I remember from 2 years ago, Chuck, when the Rangers were here, the fans were dying to see the Rangers, but every single politician came forth and had something to say. So you were joking before, Sue, about you hope you don't hear from every Yankee. Personally, I hope we don't hear from every politician, okay?
I think maybe that your wish may not be granted, Len. I'm not quite sure, but we'll be back in just a moment.
Today's World Series Victory Parade is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Pontiac dealers.
A blizzard of ticker tape, probably ankle deep now on Broadway. As Chopper 4 zooms up towards City Hall right now, the sanitation crew's already trying to clean this up. This exuberant celebration of the Yankees' victory, and we are joined here at City Hall by Gabe Pressman, who is a venerable New York sports fan and reporter. Gabe, we've covered a lot of things together over the years, a lot of conventions and parades and celebrations. How does this one measure up? You were out there in the crowd.
It's a big one, but it's not the biggest. I think...
Oh, you're a party pooper, Gabe Pressman.
I can't help it. You know, that mathematically it's impossible to put more than a couple of 100,000 people on Lower Broadway, but I've heard mayors constantly, celebration after celebration, building up crowds. Sometimes I think you'd have to stack them up 12 stories high in order to fit as many people. But it was a big crowd. It was a happy crowd. They were very, very enthusiastic and very good-natured. One guy said to me, "We're a family," and that's the sense you got out of it. Rudy Crew, the chancellor of the city school system, was riding up in an open car,
And I yelled pretty hard to get through, but I yelled, "Are you playing hooky?" And he smiled and said, "I'll be back at work tomorrow."
Along with most of his students, I think.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, what was the biggest one then, if this wasn't the biggest?
I think, as I remember when I was a newspaper man, probably Douglas MacArthur and maybe Eisenhower, I'm not sure. But, of course, we had the astronauts. We had John Glenn when he orbited the Earth, and we had all the heroes of the Persian Gulf. They were big ones, too. Upsail was big. But it's a wonderful New York institution, and I'm not knocking it.
We're looking at a wonderful New York institution now.
The Radio City Rockettes.
Right across the street from our headquarters.
Gabe, as a sports fan, you always wonder what these things do for the politicians, because there was that famous story back in '69 that the Mets helped get John Lindsay reelected. Does this Yankee victory have any bearing on the Giuliani administration?
I think it certainly helps, but remember, his reelection effort is a year away. So Lindsay, when he ran and the Mets won that great victory in '69, that was the year he was running, and he needed every bit of help emotionally that he could get. But there was Rudy out there today, lording it over the whole parade, getting cheered by the crowd. Normally, politicians get booed by baseball crowds, as you well know. And everybody rode up. Pataki, Alphonse D'Amato. The only guy who was on foot was Guy Molinari of Staten Island. I guess they couldn't afford a car for him.
Gabe.
Yeah.
You kid or you?
And they were all trading on it. They all were eager to talk, and you know, even though it was hard to get to some of them, they all had a lot to say.
I'm so surprised, Gabe. Oh, it's a fabulous day.
Darryl Strawberry did very well with the crowds, and so did, well, they all did. Torrey and all the others. And Rudy Giuliani did very well.
Did you see Andy? We've been looking for Andy.
I didn't see him.
Gabe, when you were growing up in New York, who did you root for? What was your team?
The New York Yankees. I lived in the Bronx, not far from the stadium. And when I was 12 years old, I saw a World Series in which, as I remember it, the Yankees won.
That was the first World Series ever, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yankees were not the first World Series, Chuck. Be polite.
It was 1936. Roosevelt was running for a second term. He came into the stadium in an open car, and he was waving his hat and smiling. It was a great sight. Everybody cheered. And, you know, Roosevelt was the master politician.
Sure.
And Tony Lazzeri hit a home run with the bases loaded, as I remember.
And Joe D was in that World Series?
No, I don't think Joe D was on the Yankees.
Wasn't in the Yankees?
Garrick was there.
Garrick, 36?
Yeah. Selkirk.
Wow.
I know more sports from 1936 than I do today.
Did they have a tradition of politicians throwing the first ball out in 1936 as well?
I dimly remember Roosevelt throwing out the ball. I think that was a stronger tradition in the old days than it is now.
It was, if I'm not mistaken, it goes back to McKinley actually throwing out the first baseball. It might have been.
Really?
I mean, that's way back. I don't know if that's 1912 or something like that.
No, McKinley would be about 1898.
So he's even early. Well, I remember reading somewhere that McKinley threw out the first. How could that possibly be? I guess it's true. I don't know. Gabe covered that. I don't know.
Get that tidbit book out now. Get the tidbit
Be polite.
Well, I'll tell you, the nice thing about baseball when I was 12 was that anybody could get a ticket. You stood online long enough, you could get a ticket. They didn't gobble it up, give it out to the favored corporate guys and all the others. A kid of 12 or 10 could stand online, and the bleachers were huge. I think there were about 12,000 seats. And for $1.10 or so, you were in the park.
$1.10. I remember the good old days too, Gabe.
My first big assignment on the World Telegram was to stand online all night and get bleacher tickets. And it was a year that the Yankees had all kinds of injuries, and I couldn't think of a lead. And then somebody said, well, why don't you compare the Yankee injuries to the way you feel? And that's what I did. I said, I have so-and-so's back, and I've got so-and-so's left leg, and so forth.
Well, we've had people calling in requesting that once again Chopper 4 get a shot of those 4 Porta Sands. So we're going to take a break and see if we can We can get that for you. I'm just kidding. You get a little bored. Oh, they're doing it. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry about that, folks. All right, we'll be back in just a minute.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
This week.
Welcome back to our coverage of this victory day for the New York Yankees. We are at City Hall. Sue Simmons, Gabe Pressman, Len Berman, and I'm Chuck Scarborough. And there are people perched on every available precipice around here. Look at this group from Pace University. A rather precarious seat they've got up there, sitting on the roof of the building, directly to our left here. Inside City Hall, we have the New York Yankees and various politicians. They're having a little snack after their parade up Broadway. And in a few minutes, we expect them to come out here along with the mayor and the governor and to be presented the keys of the city to the exuberant ovation of this crowd.
You know, let's hark back to Saturday night and the Yankees clinching their 23rd World Championship. As you can imagine, the players were just exhilarated, relieved, happy, excited. So let's share some of that emotion, and we'll start off with some of our locker room interviews from Saturday, beginning with Dwight Gooden.
At one time, like, we've been out of the game, you don't even know if you're going to wear a big league uniform again. And just to get here and play the big leagues and didn't have this, I mean, it's ice on the cake right here. It's one of the rewards you get.
I went from last place to catching the last out in the World Series. There's no better feeling than this. I mean, to be on a team like this, so many great players. Every player made sacrifices the whole year. Everybody want to play, but we know we all weren't going to get to play. So what we all did, we got together and said, hey, when we're in there, make the best of your opportunity. And that's what basically we all did.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet right now. It's, you sit there and through all the hard times and you just sit back and just really just take a look and because when I ran out on the field and I looked up, I knew my mother was looking down at me, and that was the greatest feeling in the world. Never do that. No, I had the feeling in '86. She didn't. She wasn't there. She was there this time. That's the good part about it. She was falling down.
You know, there are players who go their entire careers and never get a World Series ring. You know, we mentioned Don Mattingly before, although his career may not be finished. Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox. There are other players who are Hall of Famers who will never wear a ring. And Wade Boggs, you wondered about. He's a sure Hall of Famer, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Came so close in '86, and now with the memories of his late mom. And he will have a World Series ring. And the life and death, sometimes emotions that are wrapped up in sports, I guess kind of would bring us all back to what this is all about. We spoke about that moment earlier, and we saw it. I was glad we got to see it on tape because it was one of the most genuinely touching post-game interviews I've seen.
There's a warmth about this celebration that it's unifying for New York. It really is incredible, the feelings in the air.
New York does that. New York, when there are moments of great victory or moments of great stress, New York unifies. If there was a blackout, if there was a blizzard, New York unifies generally, with rare exception. When there is something like this, the city comes together. I remember oddly, there was a peculiar thing a couple of years ago. We had an eclipse. Right. An eclipse that occurred, and that sort of unified the city. There was a gentleness that settled over the city as people stood out on street corners watching this astronomical event occur. But they suddenly, all of the, what normally we walk around with a bit of armor on in this city. You have to sort of protect yourself, a little emotional armor. And the city can be abrasive and rude, but occasionally things happen that lift that veneer away and expose us for the nicer human beings we're capable of being.
Today, as I walked up the parade route from way down Lower Broadway to City Hall, I felt that. You know, let's go Yankees with the chant, and then they were yelling at me, and they were just yelling at each other. They were so happy, and they were so much together. And you could see in the crowd all the ethnicities of New York, and they were all bound together. They were, you know, like sardines. They were that close. It was a wonderful feeling, and I guess the chauvinism that the Yankees bring out is not a negative chauvinism. It's a pride. It's a pride in the city, a pride in our culture, whatever that is. City Hall Park has seen some wild demonstrations, anti-City Hall demonstrations very often. But today it doesn't see that at all.
John Johnson is not seeing anything at all either from the other side of City Hall Park, as he's told us many times. But tell us what's in your immediate vicinity, John.
Well, I have some funny faces here. They're black and white faces over in this area here. This is how they dress in the cheap seats over here. All right, hold on. As I've said before, we can't see anything. We can hear a little something, and some of the confetti and the ticker tape blows this way. Okay, are you having fun even though you're not seeing any of this?
I waited 15 years for this. 15 years of frustration. 1996 is our year. We finally made it. Joe Torre, thank you very much. We made it.
All right, all right. Okay, and you have the same sentiment, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. Bernie Williams, he took the Yankees all the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you can see the whole point here is just to be here. It's not the fact that they have to see anybody. It's just to be here and have a good time. And also, we're a little concerned about some of the youngsters that are here. Some of the youngsters that have been in the crowd, we've been a little worried about because of the crush here. Are you having a good time? Yeah. Yes. Do you know why you're here? The Yankees. Why? The Yankees. Well, I know you know why. I was wondering if you know why. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a good time.
And you missed school today, right? Didn't you?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. So, even though we can't see anything, we're having a good time over here. Okay, we'll see you. Now back to you.
Well, it is a happening, no doubt about it. And there you can see the trees you were talking about, Len, from the top. Yep. Festooned with paper.
I want the Yankees to stop eating lunch.
There's a sign of a little activity over at the front door of City Hall. I think that trickling out.
Well, the Yankees have had lunch. Our crew had lunch here. They were dining peacefully.
I guess Sue's hungry. That's the problem.
All I've eaten
surrounded by food.
All I've eaten is confetti, and there were rolls of toilet paper by the hundreds that were being thrown around out there on Broadway. That's the new ticker tape.
We'll be back in just a minute. We'll continue our coverage of the Yankees celebration. Stay tuned.
We're back on the air here at City Hall. We're still waiting for the new Yankees to come out from their snack time. And Len, I'm wondering, you know, as we sit here and wait for them, are there any lingering thoughts you have about the game and maybe some players that were unsung heroes?
Well, point is that many of them were. I mean, you have a 25-man roster, and just about everybody got involved. And I guess the thought I keep going back to is that game number 4 when they trailed 6-0. From a baseball strategy standpoint, they kept using players and relief pitchers to the point where if the game, which ended in 10, had gone 12 or 15 innings, nobody has any idea what would have happened. Jimmy Key, one of the starting pitchers, probably would have had to come in and play. Wade Boggs, when he walked with the bases loaded to force in the lead run in the 10th, was the very last player available on the bench. There were no more bench players in baseball, unlike football and basketball. When you get substituted for, you're done. You can't come back in the game. So if that game kind of encapsulates the kind of team effort it was, how everybody got used in that game on the bench, and they trailed 6-0, came back to win 8, 6, and 10 innings. And you wonder, in all the strategy that took place, what would have happened if the game continued on. Oh, I like that sign. Let's see. We had the Rangers in '94.
Yankees in 96.
Nixon
He's hoping the Knicks in 97. Maybe a little bit of a stretch. I think Mr. Jordan might have something to say about that in Chicago.
Well, you know, as Gabe sits here, I'm thinking, Gabe, this is your son's first World Series, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Let's see, 1984, he was born.
Yeah.
So it is. But I have another son who's 40 years old, and he's sitting here at City Hall in the plaza. Yeah.
Well, he's seen a few then. He's seen a few. But I remember your son walking around with a baseball cap, so I assume that he's a big fan.
You know, I asked him today whether he wanted to come down, and he said, no, I've got to go to school. And he really hated not to play hooky, but that's the work ethic or something.
Somebody instilled in him. I don't know who, Gabe. But good for him.
Well, as the strains of New York fill the air, the Rockettes are standing on the stage. And while we wait for the Yankees to emerge, let's listen to a few more comments after they had clinched their championship the other night at Yankee Stadium. Here's a listen.
Well, you know, when I first came out of it, all the troubles that happened in New York was, well, it gets you down a little bit, but I still knew I could pitch and I could come out of it. And in the first season, it's happened. So I'm really happy about that.
You know, I don't even know what to say. It's just, it's unbelievable. We were down 2-0, just the way we fought back on 4 in a row from these guys, the pitching staff they have. We just showed a lot of heart and character.
It's great. I mean, it's like I said, we finished it. This is the ultimate victory in sports as far as baseball goes for us. And, I hung around with the Rangers a lot when they won the Stanley Cup, and I saw how they were feeling. And now they can hang out with me and see how I feel and understand the same thing. I'll be at their game tomorrow night, and like I said, I'm looking forward to just being able to celebrate all this.
We were able to get it done. We came in here on a high coming out of Atlanta, and we wanted to win tonight. We didn't want to let them win this game, and you never know what's going to happen in a one-game scenario. And our guys were able to get 3 runs off Greg, and the pitchers were able to make that hold up.
We've done it all year long, from losing a 12-game lead all the way to the playoffs. We've battled back. We never gave up, and that's why we're world champions.
The New York Yankees have made us the baseball champions with the most wonderful victory that you could have, a come-from-behind victory. And now on Tuesday, we'll have a parade coming up Broadway. Nobody can have a parade like New York City. There's nothing like a New York City parade. And the parade for the Yankees will be an absolute wonderful event.
Well, the parade portion is done. No, I don't. As we wait for the Yankees to emerge from City Hall, we're listening to the comments of many of the Yankee players. You saw Andy Pettit, and Tino Martinez, and Graham Lloyd, and Jimmy Leyritz. And I'm kind of wondering now.
The council president, Peter Ballone, is out there. He's standing all by himself. And he represents the other side of city government. There's the mayor's side and there's the council side. Peter is sitting right down now in the front row over to the right. I guess you can hardly pick him out.
I'm wondering who's going to get the biggest ovation. I assume Joe Torre may. Of the players, maybe Jimmy Leyritz.
Strawberry,
Derek Jeter. So, I mean, this is going to be fun. Just got to get it going.
It's up to you, New York.
Well, while we wait for the Yankees to come out, we'll just take a moment now, an opportunity to take a break. And we'll be back in 2 minutes or so.
Chuck Scarborough, Sue Simmons, Dean Shepard, Al Roker, Janice Huff, Len Berman, and now, Michele Marsh, John Johnson. The best broadcasters in New York are all on the same team. News Channel 4, all day, all night, all week, always.
Next in...
Welcome back to our continuing live coverage. We're at City Hall awaiting the appearance of the Yankees on stage. Knows the governor has made it to the front row, so can the Yankees be far behind? Well, I just took a little trek down through the crowd there, and they are ready for any kind of a notable. Anybody who's slightly known is going to get a big ovation here, I'll tell you. As I walked through, people were exuberant, and they were reaching out to shake hands and take pictures, and very just delighted to be here to celebrate the New York Yankees victory.
Well, you see the Rockettes have lined up on both sides of the aisle, so I assume each player, as he is introduced, will come down through that crowd. And I would guess that would happen in the next few minutes. But they, at the moment, are 30 minutes behind schedule. They had promised an hour rally, so I guess it's entirely possible that it would last till 2:30. But
let's do the 5 and 6 o'clock news from here.
It's fine with me.
All right.
Do you think those fans of Another World and Days of Our Lives would appreciate that?
No.
But we were talking earlier during the break line about 1986. We covered the celebration for the Mets, and they spent an awful long time, it seems to me, eating in City Hall. Nothing like a free lunch to relax you.
I get a feeling that's where the mayor and the top dignitaries get to spend their little quality time with the champions, get a lot of pictures taken, and all the families can meet. And I think that's what that break is all about. But this has been true of all the celebrations we've covered: the Mets in '86 and the Rangers in '94, and now again the Yankees in '96.
We're hearing a little feedback here from the speaker system.
Well, certainly hasn't cut down the crowd any this long delay, because it's still, as far as our eyes can see, really stretched all the way. The crowd is stretched all the way around. It's just it's really quite a sight. That's the view that we have as we look back towards Park Row, and you can see how deep the fans are, stretched across the street, and just thousands and thousands. The MCs of this proceeding will be the Yankee radio voices on WABC, which will be John Sterling and Michael Kay, and they'll be the ones who will be introducing the players one by one. Remember when the Rangers came down one at a time, and then they carried down the Stanley Cup, and it was great. Each one was presented that key to the city, and that's what will happen here today. And I would guess we're getting close, because I see General Manager Bob Watson. There's Yankee manager Joe Torre, who is making his first appearance. And the crowd stands on its feet. George Steinbrenner has come down. Joe DiMaggio. There's Jolton Joe, silver-haired, right behind the police officer. There he is. Always one of the biggest crowd favorites. And perhaps he has the record that will never be broken, 56 consecutive games with a hit. Although when you ask him, he says the only record that will never be broken is Johnny Vandermeer's 2 consecutive no-hitters, because then to break it, someone would have to pitch 3 consecutive no-hitters.
That's right.
That's Joe D's take on that record. And the mayor comes down beaming, and he is applauded. Alphonse D'Amato behind him.
They have just initiated a political rapprochement. Alphonse D'Amato and the mayor, they went their separate ways, as you well know, when the mayor decided to take the unusual step as a Republican.
It's all been fixed now.
The Democratic candidate for governor, Mario Cuomo. And they have recently, since Mayor Giuliani has decided to endorse the Republican ticket, Alphonse D'Amato has reached a handout and sort of buried the hatchet. There is a perhaps symbolic scene up here that we're about to. They say Robert Merrill.
Do we spot Placido Domingo on the left, right behind Joe Torre?
Well, that's the.
He and Robert Merrill going to sing a duet.
And Bob Watson, the general manager, in the suit.
Peter Vallone.
People wondering if the general manager will be back next year. Steinbrenner says, sure. Well, he's got him for another year of a contract. So if he's not going to be here, it will not be of the Yankees' volition. It would be of Bob Watson's.
And Bob Watson, again, it was another little vignette when that final out was made and victory occurred, because he observed at the time, as you know, Sue, that he was the first African-American general manager.
Well, he said he's the only one. He's the only major baseball executive here 50 years after Jackie Robinson breaks in. So he was almost taking a little bit of a knock. He was saying, here's what I'm proud of. I helped put this team together, and I'm one of the rare blacks in a power position in Major League Baseball. And here are the MCs, John Sterling and Michael Kay, and I guess we're just about ready to play ball.
Boy, you are fabulous. Thank you all for coming everywhere. My name is John Sterling. I'm one of the broadcasters of the Yankees, and here is my partner. And I'm Michael Kay. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
And the World Series trophy right in front of Michael Kay.
It is such a great thrill and pleasure, far beyond any of my wildest expectations. I'm so privileged to be here in front of you, because I didn't get a base hit, I didn't throw a strike, I didn't make a catch. All I did many times during the year was wait for someone like Charlie Hayes to stand in foul territory outside of third, make a catch, and shout, Yankees win! Oh, Yankees win!
That is John's signature
I've noticed
call.
about this crowd as we were going down Broadway is that you see so many different faces from so many different parts of the city. The Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, and the borough of Manhattan. And this is a team that goes across all lines. And today, on this day that we celebrate the World Championship, everyone out there is wearing a pinstripe suit with the interlocking NY on the left chest, a blue cap, and the white interlocking NY. Today, everybody is a Yankee.
Well, let's first of all meet our distinguished guests. To my left, the governor of the state of New York, George Pataki.
And the first booze of the day.
And we also
with
welcome
cheers.
the speaker, Peter Vallone.
And Senator Al D'Amato.
And the second
And
booze.
Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
And a gentleman who has been a great mayor in this city a few years ago, and who years ago taught Phil Rizzuto in high school, Mayor Abraham Beam.
And now we'd like to introduce the people that helped put this Yankee team together, the Yankee executives here on my right.
First of all, David Sussman.
Steve Swindell.
Joe Malloy.
Hal Steinbrenner.
The principal owner who made it all possible, George Steinbrenner.
And it's my privilege to introduce the greatest living ball player, Joseph Paul DiMaggio. And now we'd like to introduce a man who's in his 30th year with the New York Yankees. You know him, if you come to the stadium, you hear him every single day. He's Eddie Layton, and he'll sing he'll play the Yankees national anthem. Why don't you listen? And as Eddie plays New York, New York, we are going to introduce for you, for the first time publicly, the 1996 World Champion New York Yankees.
Well, first of all, a gentleman who's going to be the unanimous Rookie of the Year, Derek Jeter.
I have a sandwich over there. Thanks.
Next up, the guy who guided the ship, and he should be the manager of the year, Joe Torre.
You'll never forget his thrilling no-hitter this year, Doc Gooden.
The third baseman of the Yankees and one of the newest mounted policemen in New York City, Wade Boggs.
He hit the home run that turned the World Series around. Jim Leyritz.
A guy who hit a big home run last year, had some injury problems this year. Let's have a hand for Pat Kelly.
Here's one of the left-handers on the pitching staff, Kenny Rogers.
We all know the phrase by now. We play today, we win today. That's it. This is the guy who coined it, Mariano Duncan.
A late arrival to the Yankees who helped them win and win in the World Series, Luis Sojo.
Another late arrival to the Yankees, got some big pinch hits during the season, Mike Aldretti.
The starting right fielder of the Yankees, Paul O'Neill.
The winner of the deciding game of the 1996 World Series, Jimmy Key.
He drove in 117 runs in his first year as a Yankee, helping them win. Tino Martinez.
How ironic. He came from Colorado and now he's living a Rocky Mountain high. Joe Girardi.
One of the unsung Yankees who helped them win, Andy Fox.
This gentleman, he comes from down under, but he put the Yankees over the top. Graham Lloyd.
A future All-Star, Ruben Rivera.
He was a Yankee world champion as a player, now as a coach, Willie Randolph.
Here is The Rock, Tim Raines.
He caught the last ball of the 1996 World Series, Charlie Hayes.
Well, the Yankees won with pitching, and here's the architect of the pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre.
The MVP of the World Series, John Wetland.
He turned the series around with his Game 3 win when the Yankees had to win. David Cone.
We don't really need many words for this man. Let's just call him the straw man, Darryl Strawberry.
An ex-20-game winner in the major leagues who gets him ready in the bullpen, Tony Cloninger.
He went down to the minor leagues and he came up a great pitcher. What a contributor, Brian Boehringer.
You know, you could call John Wetland the best bullpenner in the business. And if you don't, you would call this guy Mariano Rivera.
One of the most important members of the best bullpen in baseball. He came from Seattle. Now he's a Yankee. Jeff Nelson.
They call him Big Daddy, and boy, was he ever big for the Yanks. Cecil Fielder.
I think this guy is going to be the 1996 Cy Young Award winner, Andy Pettitte.
This fella came up from Columbus to help the Yankees win some late season games to finish first, Dave Pablis.
Joe Torre's right-hand man, Don Zimmer.
20 years ago, 1976, He hit a home run in the 9th inning to win the Yanks a pennant. Now their hitting coach, Chris Chambliss.
My partner coined this phrase after a home run. Burn, baby, burn. Bertie Williams.
One of the heroes, one of them, of the win over Texas, the win over Baltimore, and the win over Atlanta, David Weathers.
How many of you remember the catch that Paul O'Neill made on Luis Polonia's drive? Well, this guy moved him over 3 feet right before the pitch. Jose Cardinal.
Here is one of the Yankee pitchers who helped win a game against Baltimore to put the Yankees in first place in April. They never stopped out of first place. Jim Messier.
One of the Yankees' future stars, catcher Jorge Posada.
Another pitcher who came up from the minor leagues where the Yankees brought up so many top players to help them win. He helped them win a lot of games in the middle of the season. Dale Polly.
And finally, this gentleman won a very big game in a doubleheader in Cleveland. Ramiro Mendoza. And ladies and gentlemen, those are your 1996 world champion New York Yankees. Now we'd like to take a moment to remember 2 people that we know had the best seat in the house for these games. A couple of years ago, the great Yankee center fielder Mickey Mantle passed away, and as the Yankees win their 23rd World Championship, he was a part of many of the other ones, and we take a moment to remember him, and also
a gentleman who, along with mine, was many boyhood hero. He was the great broadcaster of the Yankees. He's once and forever the voice of the Yankees. Let's remember Mel Allen.
And if you would, let's please have a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda here, we have the national anthem to be sung, but we want to take you to what is a bit of a problem with the ticker tape. You may have wondered about the fire hazard here. Somehow the ticker tape in part of this parade caught fire. You can see it right there. And we can actually smell the smoke up here at City Hall with all of this paper everywhere. Actually, we can see the smoke if we look over here to our right now. Somehow this ticker tape caught fire, and there is a pall of smoke now descending over City Hall. This is going to be a bit of a challenge to make certain that all of this paper all around here does not burst into flame.
See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
That is Christine Scleros, a little girl with a big voice. And now here's a guy that every Yankee fan, since he's grown up, has heard sing the national anthem. Today he'll sing America the Beautiful, the legendary Mr. Robert Merrill.
Join me, please. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea once more. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
When you do something like this, you know, occasionally you mess up. Someone slipped in here we didn't introduce, and boy, does he ever need introducing, because he did a great job from start to finish to put the champion Yankees together. The GM of the Yankees, Mr. Bob Watson.
And now, I don't think we're going too far out on a limb to say that this next gentleman is the #1 Yankee fan in the city. He's the host of this party, by the way. Let's have a nice warm welcome for the mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sit down, everybody. Sit down. The other night I said that New York City would give the biggest and the grandest parade of all for the 1996 Yankees. It is the biggest, the grandest. 3.5 million people watched and thanked the New York Yankees. The 1996 season for the New York Yankees began in the snows of April. and it ends today in the bright sunlight of New York City. Once upon a time in New York, October meant championships in New York City. And the 1996 Yankees have once again made October in New York City a magical time, a heroic achievement, and have given us a championship season. Thank you, Yankees. The Yankees are back, New York City is back, and all of you are here enjoying this great victory and thanking them. The New York Yankees are the greatest franchise in sports, and this city is the greatest city in the world. The New York Yankees have created much of the history and legend of baseball. And this 1996 Yankee team has written a new and very glorious chapter in that illustrious history. Like New Yorkers themselves, this team plays best under pressure. Remember, just 1 week ago, the Yankees trailed the Braves 2-0, and every expert said they couldn't do it, right? And they did it. They came from behind like they've done all year. Not one, not two, 4 of the most exciting games in the history of the World Series. And their victory is an inspiration for all of us. It is a metaphor for a city whose people work best under pressure. It's a metaphor for a city that is having a great renaissance. Today we celebrate not an individual achievement, but the achievement of an entire team. We thank George Steinbrenner and the management of the Yankees for bringing to our city yet another world championship. And we also thank George Steinbrenner for his commitment and for his courage in sticking with ball players, even against the advice of many so-called experts. Thank you, George, for your confidence in human beings. But even as we celebrate this magnificent baseball victory, it's the human victories that count the most. The victory of manager Joe Torre. Joe Torre from Brooklyn, New York. His entire family symbolizes the spirit of New York City. From Joe's brother, the dearly loved and departed Rocco Torre, who Joe knows is here today, watching after him. And Frank, who's just received a new heart. To Joe's sister, Marguerite Torre, who is here with us. This family is a New York family, a Brooklyn family. It represents all of us. It represents the best of all of us. And there's something very, very special about them. Thank you to your entire family, Joe. And to Bob Watson, the general manager, who's entitled to feel great fulfillment today, watching the players he acquired help to win this great championship for New York City. Thank you, Bob. And of course, you, the fans, you are the very best in baseball, in sports, anywhere. Even the opposing team, the Atlanta Braves, recognize this. The Braves' fine third baseman, Chipper Jones, was quoted yesterday in the New York Times, and he said the following, quote, "The Yanks have got probably the best fans I've ever seen." And we agree with Chipper Jones. You're the best fans in baseball, and the best fans in sports, and you get credit also for this great championship. But most of all, we honor the players, the ones who went out on the field and won this for us. This is a team in which everyone contributed. No one complained. All the players put their private interests aside, and in the true team spirit, they pulled together to capture the biggest prize of all. And as the pressure increased, as their backs were further and further against the wall, they stuck together as a team, and every single one of them contributed. When we give them the key to the city, every single one of them can take that key knowing that he produced this victory, contributing to it. And that's a wonderful tribute to every single one of them. This is really a great day for New York. It's a great day for the Yankees. It's a great day for their fans. And boy, it's a great day to be a New Yorker. We're the capital of the world. We're the champions of the world. And it just doesn't get any better than that. Absolutely. To our heroes in pinstripes, for an entire city, for an entire metropolitan area, for giving us a season that we will never, ever forget, and giving us another October to remember. Thank you. The history of the Yankees and of baseball is personified in the dignity, class, and character of Joe DiMaggio. It is a great honor. It is a great honor for me to introduce the greatest living baseball player and the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank you, Mayor Giuliani, and you too, George, for inviting me to this ticker tape party. I have been invited by the two of them. I'm glad I'm here. I have never seen a ticker tape like this, and I think I have been in several of them. Not this one, I have never seen. It was so wonderful to see the children who said, no, we can't close the schools for the children, but you can play hooky if you want to. And that was just great, the way they took to all of their favorite players. And I want to thank the Yankees for winning this pennant, because it brings back to me very, very fond memories. Like the 1936, when I was a rookie year, and we won the championship. And we had a mayor at that time. His name was Fiorello LaGuardia. And he used to travel during the World Series to see us play and hope that we would win. There was one year that the New York Giants were in the pennant race. They wound up winning their National League pennant, and the Yankees won their pennant. Now, we went over to the, that's what I mean about the traveling part of what the mayor did. From Yankee Stadium, he traveled over to the Polo Grounds, which was right across the river. But he was a great fan. He also came to St. Louis. I think you recall him too, Mayor Giuliani. And I want to thank the ball players. They have brought something back to me. Fellas like Yogi Berra, Phil Rizzuto. We missed these fellas. We missed them. We hope they were here. I guess they have other things to do. But thanks again for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure.
Since Joe DiMaggio mentioned Mayor LaGuardia, we are very honored to have with us Mayor Abe Beame, who gave the Yankees the very first parade like this, first ticker tape parade, and I'd like to greet Mayor Beame. Thank you for being here. We're also very honored to have here someone who was there in the 7th game cheering the Yankees home, a great governor, a good friend of the New York Yankees, a good friend of New York City, and his wonderful wife, the First Lady of the state, is here with us, and his children with Yankee caps on. Welcome, Governor George Pataki.
Thank you. Thank you. What a great day. And let me tell you, I'm going to make it even greater. No speech. I just want to congratulate and thank all of you. You know, I thought there was no greater sight than seeing John Wetland come out on the mound in the 9th inning of a game at the stadium where the Yankees are ahead. But there is a better sight, and that's Wade Boggs riding behind a horse around the stadium, holding his finger up, number 1. We're proud of you guys. Charlie Hayes, I'll tell you, when that foul ball was over by the 3rd baseline, I was praying some kid from New Jersey wouldn't reach out with a glove and catch it. They didn't. We won. And it's great that New York is again on the top of the heap. And let me just say, it is one of the greatest honors of my life to have ridden up the canyons with Joe DiMaggio. Joe, you epitomize the legacy of class of the Yankees. You are not just a great Yankee, you're a great role model for all of our children and for all Americans, and we are very grateful for what you've done. And as we rode up, I asked Joe about his World Series memories, and he said, well, in 13 years, we won 9 World Championships. But the one he always remembered is his first, his rookie year. And I'm sure Derek Jeter, a few years from now, when you've won 9 World Championships right here in New York City, you're going to remember your rookie series in that first year as the greatest and best ever. To Joe Torre and Bob Watson, what you've done is just incredible. Joe, it took you over 4,000 games to be here, but you had to come back to New York to do it, and we're confident it's going to happen again. And to George Steinbrenner, George, there is no place worth winning unless it's New York. This is the best. Let me just say to all the players, to the greatest fans in the world, in the greatest city in the world, we're on top, we're number 1. Let's do it again next year. Thank you.
And now, a great New Yorker, a great leader in our city, a great Yankee fan who rooted the Yankees home, Speaker Peter Vallone.
Thank you. And in the tradition of the governor, no speech is just one quick recognition. On behalf of all of my colleagues out here in the City Council and all elected officials, and indeed 7 million New Yorkers, you've already heard George Steinbrenner how important it is to win a championship in New York City. And we have a very special New Yorker who comes from Bronx County, who had the leadership, the courage, the guts, the heart to lead this great team to another championship in our town. And at the same time, 15 million New Yorkers' love went with a heart that was attached. Our love was attached to the heart that went to Frank. So we'd like to give this to you, Joe, in recognition for all New Yorkers for a job well done. Congratulations.
And now, we're very honored to have with us Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
I think I'm here because I'm the only one other than Joe DiMaggio who's old enough to have watched him play with Lou Gehrig. And this morning I admitted to him when Lou Gehrig was my hero. And wouldn't you know what he said? He was my hero too. And we were proud of those Yankees, but never prouder than of these. Thank you.
And now we're very honored to have Senator Alphonse D'Amato.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for giving us this wonderful day. George Steinbrenner, thank you for building a great team. Joe DiMaggio, I tell you, you'll bring back such great, great, great memories. And to Joe Torre and Bob Watson, you put together a winning combination and a team that came together, all-stars, because they played together. And you know, it demonstrates if you never give up, and this team never gave up, you'll go all the way. That's the fighting spirit. Congratulations.
It's great winning this championship, but probably the thing that makes this greatest of all is that the leader of this team is from New York, is from Brooklyn, and is such a wonderful man, Joe Torre. Thank you. How did everybody get in my living room here? I think you all know what this means to me personally, involving my family and what went on this year. And having been, it's my first World Series. Very, very special. And there are a whole lot of people I'd like to thank that made me become a part of this. First of all, the Yankee management who, you know, in spite of some people who were against this whole thing, brought me in to manage, and I want to thank the day that Bob Watson called and made that offer to me. My coaching staff, I assembled, and I'm proud to say, the best coaching staff in all of baseball. Anybody who thinks one person can do a job this immense is crazy. I have an outstanding, hard-working staff, and I had Stottlemyre on one side, Zimmer on the other side. They just kept me from tipping one way or the other all the time. Chris Chambliss and Willie Randolph and Jose Cardinal, Tony Cloninger. Well, I want to tell you what got this done. In spring training, we made a commitment. We talked to the players. We said we want to get to the World Series. We're not thinking about postseason. We're getting to the World Series. That's what we're fighting for. And the one thing we asked them to do was trust us. Because without trust, you can't commit. And I'm proud to say that they did trust me and my staff. And we heaped on them a whole bunch of responsibility. And they responded like the men that you see up here today and you saw out there at Yankee Stadium all year long. Very responsible human beings. The thing I'm most proud of about this team is every single one, and it was mentioned earlier, contributed to a victory this year. And that not too many ball clubs can say that about their team. We utilized everyone. Everyone had a job to do. Everybody worked hard. They all ran hard. They played hard. They prepared. And when things didn't go really well, they hitched up their belt and went after it again. They're tough. They're tough. And the thing that they have probably more than anything
is what's in here. They have a lot of heart. I tell you, a year ago, a couple of years ago, I guess during the strike and the replacement players, I lost a lot of interest in the game of baseball. And every time baseball players' names were mentioned, it was always how much money they're making. This is the first team that has ever gone on to the World Series. I mean, in recent years, where money has been such a big part of conversation regarding baseball players, that was the last thing on anybody's mind. They just wanted to be the best, and that's the way they played. And I want to say something. I've never been involved, obviously, never even close to being involved in anything like this parade today and this sea of humanity we see out here this afternoon. This is absolutely spectacular. And the fans, when you hear about all the horror stories of people who aren't from New York City, talking about the fans and how the city scares them and how bad they are. Well, I thought the behavior out there after Game 6, the championship game, you guys were spectacular. What energy. You could have lit up the whole world today with the energy you put out today out here. Electricity is what it was all about. I knew we were a special ball club when during the course of the year I had people coming up to me in this fair city and saying, you know what, I never thought I'd say this. I'm a New York Mets fan and I'm rooting for you guys to win. But probably even more impressive than that, going around city to city and people saying they were Boston Red Sox fans that were pulling for us to win. I want to say to my players again, and I mentioned that after we beat Baltimore in the championship series, I love every one of them, each and every one of them. They worked hard, and I couldn't be prouder of a group of people. I told you I had a lot of relatives out here. And I was wondering why it took so long for me to get to a World Series. 4,200 plus games, 30 plus years. Well, I guess the good Lord was waiting for me to put on the pinstripes. Thank you very much.
And now it's a great honor to present the man who helped to forge this team, to put it together, who had the courage to make the changes that were necessary. And boy, I can tell you about that. A great, great man, a terrific Yankee, and a fine and terrific general manager, Bob Watson.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I'll keep this very short. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Steinbrenner and the Steinbrenner family for giving me the opportunity to stand before you today as general manager of the Yankees. Number two, I'd like to thank the finest city in the world and the finest fans in the world for supporting us. Thank you. And behind me is a group of men that in spring training, when I addressed them for the first time. A lot of them knew me as a player and as a coach, didn't know me as an administrator. I gave them our commitment, and that commitment was we, us, team. And I said, if anybody didn't want to subscribe to that, let me know, and I'll see if Mr. Steinbrenner can move you on down the highway. And I tell you, I said it again just before game 2. It was we, us, team that would get us here, and there they are. Thank you.
I need to ask your patience and indulgence because I'm going to try something that demonstrates our class and our magnanimity. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Atlanta Braves and to congratulate them on having such a great season. You know, the reason this victory is so sweet, the reason this victory is so sweet is because this team beat what used to be the world champions, a great team, and now they're even a better team. I also want to thank the mayor of Atlanta for sending me Diet Coke, an order of ribs, an Olympic warm-up suit, and this very day in Atlanta, the mayor of Atlanta is wearing a New York Yankee hat. And even though he lost a bet, I'm still going to send him what I offered him. A cheesecake from Junior's in Brooklyn, right over there. And 2 tickets to the Metropolitan Opera to hear Placido Domingo sing Carmen. Because they don't have those kinds of things in Atlanta. I think it's also appropriate that we pay special tribute to Yankee fans. There are so many of you, but we want to present certificates of appreciation to a few Yankee fans in honor of all of you and symbolic of all of you. They represent the fathers and sons and the mothers and the daughters and the grandfathers and all of the families that go to Yankee Stadium. My father took me to Yankee Stadium for the first time in 1949, and I saw Joe DiMaggio in center field and Dominic DiMaggio in center field for the Red Sox, and I remember it to this day. So we would like to honor a few of our fans. John Fahey and Megan Fahey. John and Megan are the son and daughter of New York Police Department Captain Margaret Fahey, who died earlier this year, and NYPD Deputy Inspector John Fahey, who tragically died with their brother James during a fire earlier this year. Their mother and their father took them to Yankee games and carried on the Yankee tradition, and they love this team. We also want to honor and give a certificate of appreciation to Ed Pinsky. Ed is a teacher. There's nothing more important than you can do than be a teacher. And Ed is a teacher and a Yankee fan from the Bronx whose son shares his longtime love of the Yankees. And Andrew Jappa, who is a professor at Mercy College. He's a longtime Yankee fan. He's passed it on to his family. He got it from his father. They're here, symbolic of all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rudy, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Andrew's in school. No. Andrew was on the float. Donna and I allowed him out for an hour from school. He was on the float with his hero, Derek Jeter. And now I would like I would like to present to the principal owner of the Yankees, the man who has brought New York City now 3 world championships, this one the sweetest of all. I would like to give him this proclamation that declares today officially New York Yankee Day in New York City. George Steinbrenner!
Thank you. Thank you very much. You are something special. I have but one thing to say. Joe and I have been talking, and somehow I think our whole team feels that as much as they gave to you, you gave them that much more back. And so, Mayor Giuliani, Joe and I would like to present to you and the people of New York this trophy for City Hall.
This will be on display in City Hall for all of you to come and see, all of you to come and look at, all during the winter while we get ready for spring training so they can win it again for us next year.
Now we would like to introduce the Police Commissioner of New York City, Howard Safer. He wants to make a special presentation to Yankee third baseman Wade Boggs. Wade?
Wade? The other night, when the last out was caught and we won, I looked around and I was a little fearful of the cops on the field to make sure everything was okay. And I looked out there and there was a guy out of uniform. So I thought we would fix that by making Wade Boggs an honorary mounted cop and making sure that he wears the right uniform. Thanks, Wade.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I tell you one thing. I'm so proud of all these guys up here. Joe Torre, the whole front office, Mr. Steinbrenner. I'm so proud to be a Yankee, but most of all, I'm so proud of you fans. Because you talk about the greatest spectacle in sports history, that ticker tape parade was the greatest sports spectacle ever in the history of sports. Thank you.
Now, before we get to the moment you've been waiting for, let me introduce the Fire Commissioner, Tom Van Essen, and he has a special tribute to Sister Marguerite Torre. Commissioner.
We all know that there's millions and wonderful, fantastic Yankee fans in this city this year. But I don't think that any group symbolizes the affection and the love of the Yankees more than the kids out at Nativity, the Blessed Virgin Mary School. Joe's sister is the principal out there, and on behalf of the mayor, we'd like to present her and all those kids with a key to New York City.
You have to know that Tommy, Mr. Von Essen, is a Nativity graduate. We are so proud of him. Also, while I'm here, I would just like to introduce a couple of special women in our family. Our family is a very male, predominantly male family. I would like to introduce my wonderful sister-in-law, Allie Torrey. I don't know where you are, Allie. God bless you. You know, behind every man, you know. Very special lady. My wonderful sister. Where are you, Ray? God bless you. Stand. Allie's mom, Joe's daughters, Dana, Allie's sisters. Wonderful. I'm not a women's liver, but God bless the women in the Torrey family.
Well, now, the moment I'm sure everybody back here has been waiting for. Mayor Giuliani is going to step to the podium, and he's going to give each and every member of the New York Yankees a key to this great city.
Okay, let's begin. Let's begin with the gentleman that I mentioned sometime soon will be, should be anyway, the unanimous selection of Rookie of the Year. He played with a grace and a polish of a 10-year veteran. He played a great shortstop. He hit over 300. And he won the hearts of every young gal. Derek Jeter.
Next up, you can honestly say that this gentleman turned the biggest city in the world into a small town. Ladies and gentlemen, the manager of the Yankees, Joe Torre.
Here's one of the most popular athletes ever to play in New York City in any sport. He helped pitch the Mets to a world championship, battled back over personal problems, pitched a no-hitter for the Yankees, helped them win the pennant. Dwight Doc Gooden.
This next gentleman has done so much in his career, and he had two things left he wanted to do: win a championship and get 3,000 hits. He's halfway home. We know he'll get to 3,000, and he might also get to the National Horse Show now. Wade Boggs.
Last year, when the Yankees lost a great playoff series to Seattle, the biggest moment was in the second game in the 15th inning. This fella hit a 3-run home run. Imagine hitting a 3-run home run in the 15th inning to win a playoff game. How could you ever have a bigger hit than that? He had it this year. Jim Leyritz.
This next Yankee has had an injury-plagued year, but he was here through the bad times, and he deserves to enjoy the good times as much of this team as anybody that's sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Kelly.
Here's a gentleman who won 12 ball games to help the Yankees win the pennant. He started 3 playoff games. He didn't lose any of them. The Yankees won them all. Kenny Rogers.
Two second basemen went down in spring training, and everybody wondered, what are the Yankees going to do? Well, this gentleman is what the Yankees did. He hit .340 for the season. He hit .406 at Yankee Stadium. And why don't we all say it today? He coined the phrase, we play today, we win today, that's it. Mariano Duncan.
This fella showed what he was worth in 2 innings in one of the playoff games against Atlanta. He scooped up a low throw in the dirt and made a tag to stop an enemy base runner. And the top of the inning, he got a base hit to right field to knock in a run. A very valuable Yank in reserve, Luis Sojo.
This next Yankee got a lot of big pinch hits when he came over from the California Angels right around midseason. Let's have a nice big hand for Mike Aldretti.
One of the best hitting outfielders in the game. He has been a big-time hitter for the Yankees ever since coming over from Cincinnati. And he raced back in right field to take a game-winning hit away from Luis Bologna to win a World Series game. Paul O'Neill.
Well, when you're going to start the 6th game of the World Series, there's probably a lot of nerves going through your body. So what do? Well, if you're Jimmy Key, you go out and get engaged. So the game doesn't seem like that big of a deal. He said when he signed here 4 years ago, he wanted to win a championship. He won the final game that got the Yankees a championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Key.
You know, I mentioned the very tough loss in the playoffs last year to Seattle. It went to 5 full games, 11th inning of the 5th game. One of the reasons the Yankees lost was this guy. He was so good against them, they had to go out and get him. And this year, he helped the Yankees win the World's Championship. Tino Martinez.
No Yankee player was more scrutinized after he was acquired than this gentleman. All he did was give the Yankees clutch hit after clutch hit, handle the pitching staff beautifully, block every pitch in the dirt, and become one of the more valuable Yankees. He came from Denver, as I mentioned, but now he's a Yankee at heart. Joe Girardi.
Here is a moment out of this great Yankee season. The Yankees are in Chicago early. It's a Sunday. It's freezing cold, and the Yankees trail Alex Fernandez, one of the best pitchers in the league, 8-0. What do the Yankees do? Well, they rally to win, of course, and it all began when this fella hit a slow grounder to first. The first baseman didn't hustle. He did. He beat the plate of the bag, and the Yankees went on to win the ball game. Andy Fox.
All I can say about this gentleman, I wonder how he pitches when he doesn't have elbow chips. Graham Lloyd.
Well, this next player, who is going to be a flat-out great star in the future, some people think he could become one of baseball's greatest players, had 2 very big contributions. He won a ball game against the Red Sox in extra innings with a base hit to center field. And in his biggest contribution, he raced into right center, left his feet, dove, and made a fabulous catch for the Yankees to win a ball game against Detroit. Ruben Rivera.
As I mentioned before, this gentleman was with the Yankees in 76, 77, and 78, winning 2 world championships as the Yankees second baseman. Now he's gone on to become one of the best third base coaches in baseball. A long-time Yankee, a Yankee for a long time as well. Here is Willie Randolph.
The Yankees went out and got this player over the winter. Bob Watson did. Switch hitter, very fast, good hitter, but he got hurt at the beginning of the year, and the Yankees wondered when he returned, would they have a place for him? Well, when he came back, he played so well, he drove the Yankees to winning the pennant and on to the World Series. Here's Tim Raines.
This next gentleman was a late season pickup, but he turned out to be a big pickup for the Yankees. When Wade Boggs was hurt, he was able to step in and play some third base for the Yankees. He also scored the only run in the Yankees' 1-0 victory, the one that Andy Pettitte pitched in Atlanta. Also, he'll forever be emblazoned in the mind of Yankee fans as catching that foul pop-up near third base. Charlie Hayes. And Charlie told me he still has the ball and he's not giving it up.
When this fella came to the Yankees, a late season call-up in 1964, he pitched brilliantly, driving the Yankees to a pennant and then the World Series against the Cardinals. Then the Yankees became a poor team, but he became a terrific pitcher, winning 20 games several times. Now back with the Yanks as their pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre.
This next Yankee calls himself the Zantac Kid, and he certainly lived up to that in Game 6. You know how you spell relief? You spell it MVP. That's also how you spell John Wetland.
A very big signing for the Yankees this winter. He was courted by many teams, but even though he's from Kansas City, he really has become a New Yorker. He lives in Manhattan. He loves the city. He went out and beat Cleveland in the opening game and then discovered that his fingertips were blue. It led to the word aneurysm, to an operation. Would he ever pitch again? I guess so. He pitched a no-hitter when he came back against Oakland. He won the pivotal third game of the series. He's as good a competitor as you'll ever see. David Cone.
Well, what a year it's been for this next Yankee. For the first half of the season, he played in St. Paul with the St. Paul Saints of the Independence League. Nobody in baseball would give him a chance. And then George Steinbrenner decided to give himself a birthday present, and he signed Darryl Strawberry.
I guess you know the story by now that Joe Torre hit the first home run at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. That is closing with a Yankee win, by the way. Well, the guy who is pitching is now the bullpen coach for the Yankees. The year that Joe hit that home run, Tony pitched. He won 23 games with the Braves. The Yankees are happy to have him helping their pitchers. Tony Cloninger.
This gentleman had cups of coffee with the Yankees as a starter, and every time he started for the Yankees, something went wrong. He was either too nervous, didn't do the job. They sent him down to the Columbus Clippers, but they never gave up on him. Then he came back as a reliever. What a reliever he was, getting huge outs for the Yankees throughout September and in the postseason. Let's have a nice warm welcome for Brian Boehringer.
It really isn't possible for me to fully tell you how great this player was for the Yankees this year. He could be the Cy Young. He could be the MVP. He is as good a relief pitcher as any of us have ever seen. Mariano Rivera.
The success of John Wetland can be tied to Mariano Rivera. The success of Mariano Rivera could be tied to the rest of the bullpen, led by this guy. Came over from Seattle last year. It's been a great addition for the Yankees down the stretch. Jeff Nelson.
This next Yankee has had so many exploits, including hitting 50 homers in his first full year in the big leagues. But just remember the second game of the playoffs. The Yankees had lost the opener to Texas, and if they lost this game, they'd be down 2 and have to go to Texas and win 3. Down 4-1, he homered in the 4th, and with a score 4-3 in the 8th, he got a base hit to tie the game. And then through the playoffs, he had nothing but big hits. Big hits, Big Daddy, Cecil Fielder.
Some snapshots from Game 5 in Atlanta. Mark Lemke lays down a bunt. This gentleman picks it up barehanded, gets the force at third. Then he turns a double play on a ball hit back to the box. He's arguably the 1996 American League Cy Young Award winner. He was the winner of that 1-0 game in Game 5 that brought the Yankees back to New York with a 3-2 lead. A born and bred Yankee from the system, here is Andy Pettitte.
When you go for a pennant, and when your lead has been chopped from 12 games to 2.5, every game is important. I recall a Friday night against Oakland. The Yankees lead by 1. This fella comes in the game and gets it out, and then with the bases loaded, the game on the line, strikes out the final bat of the game, and the Yankees beat the A's in a great pitching moment for this Yankee, Dave Pavlis.
One of the best parts of this Yankee season was watching the final couple of innings of the game and watching the expressions on this man's face as he sat next to Joe Torre. While being the right-hand man for Torre, I guess we can forgive him for being the manager of the Red Sox at one point. Let's have a nice warm welcome for Don Zimmer.
Here's another Yankee coach who, of course, when you hear his name, it evokes great memories to any Yankee fan. A really good player for the Yanks and the Atlanta Braves, as a matter of fact. A left-hand hitter who came up in the bottom of the 9th in 1976 in the 5th and final playoff game against Mark Littell and homered to give the Yankees their first pennant in 12 years. Now a coach, the hitting coach of the Yankees, Christopher Carroll Chambliss.
We all knew that this next Yankee was a star, but this season he turned himself into a superstar. He had one of the greatest American League Championship Series ever. He won the MVP. John Sterling coined the phrase, "Burn, baby, burn." Here he is, the pride of Puerto Rico, Bernie Williams.
Well, any Yankee fan knows that the year wasn't easy, and it wasn't easy for this next guy. He came to the Yankees in a deal from Florida, and he didn't pitch well, and he'd be the first guy to say that. And after 3 or 4 bad outings, he went back to the minor leagues to Columbus. There, they corrected a flaw or two. He came back and became one of the most valuable Yankees in the bullpen. Time and time again, he was called in to pitch. Time and time again, he responded with shutout ball. One of the reasons why the Yankees won, right-hand reliever David Weathers.
Sometimes a first base coach goes unnoticed unless somebody gets picked off. Sometimes an outfield coach goes unnoticed unless somebody makes an error or is out of position. As I mentioned before, one of Joe Torre's valuable members of his staff, we all remember Paul O'Neill's great catch on Luis Polonia, but the quiet part was, right before that pitch, he told O'Neill, move a little over toward right center field. That made the difference. Let's have a nice hand for Jose Cardinal.
This Yankee pitcher had a lot of big moments, but none was better. Yankees are fighting for first place on the last day of April in Baltimore. The Orioles have the bases loaded and no one out, and a 3-0 count on Brady Anderson. You had to figure the ball game was over. Well, this guy didn't. He went and struck out Brady Anderson, struck out the next guy, got out of the inning. Tino Martinez hit a grand slam in the 15th, and the Yankees came home in first place by a game and a half. Give a nice big hand to Jim Messier.
This next Yankee, a great reliever out of the bullpen. He got some very, very big outs for the Yankees throughout the second half of the season. A left-hander that Joe Torre brought in. Let's have a nice warm welcome for Dale Polley.
Here's one of the Yankee starters of the future. He came up to the Yankees when their pitching was injured. He won a big game in Seattle, pitched many other games for the Yankees, and contributed to the Yankees winning the pennant. Right-hander Ramiro Mendoza.
Here is one of the architects of the Yankees. He made some great deals for the Yankees down the stretch. He picked up Fielder. I mean, I can name him over and over and over again. He picked up Graham Lloyd. And he is really one of the reasons the Yankees are champions. The general manager of the team, Bob Watson.
I understand, Mr. Mayor, we're even giving keys to the executives. All right, very good. Here's one of the top Yankee execs, David Sussman.
And another architect of the Yankee hierarchy, Steve Swindell.
Mr. Joe Malloy.
Mr. Hal Steinbrenner.
And a fairly important person, Mr. George Steinbrenner.
And finally, this might be overkill because this guy owns the city. He gets a key to the city now, Mr. Joe DiMaggio. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice warm welcome for the 1996 champions of the baseball world, the New York Yankees.
Well, the last key has been presented, and Len, as you saw, the Boo Birds here gave a bit of a working over to the politicians. They were clearly here to see the players.
Yeah, the only player there was a smattering of boos for was Kenny Rogers, the Yankee starter who struggled in the postseason, but everybody else thoroughly cheered, including George Steinbrenner. And here, now Placido Domingo to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
I just want to tell you that even if between Joe DiMaggio and Derek Jeter, they are sitting only few feet apart, it's an endless chain of phenomenal American players than they have been Yankees. But among them, there have been a lot of Hispanics. And I have Mayor Giuliani has asked me to make a special version in Spanish. So before we sing what you are going to sing next April all together, I want to sing my version in Spanish. It goes like this, it says, Llévenme al Yankee Stadium, es la serie mundial. Por los Yankees yo voy a apostar, aunque en el Bronx pierdan al empezar. Y si en la octava entrada van perdiendo por 6, Al final del juego será Yankees 8, Braves 6. Okay, now please, Bob and everybody, let's really sing the version that you all know. And I hope that next April we start the season for another World Series and we will be champions of the world again. Okay? Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's true. Root for the Yankees. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2, 3 start at the all.
Buy me some peanuts.
Well, the whole thing took about 4 hours, about the length of an average ball game, so it worked out.
But a fine finish. Wasn't exactly the 3 tenors concert, but it was fine anyway.
I like the fact the trophy will be on display at City Hall, the World Championship trophy. I thought the quote of the day came from Joe Torre, talking about how he finally got there and he finally did it. He said, quote, "I guess the good Lord was waiting for me to put on the pinstripes." And today was certainly a pinstripe day in all of New York. We're all Yankee fans today, and I think New York City did itself proud.
It did indeed. We, of course, will be back on Live at 5, News Channel 4 at 6, and 11 o'clock to bring you complete coverage of this marvelous day in New York City and all the rest of the news that affects the tri-state area.
See you later.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful day.
Today's World Series Victory Parade is brought to you in part by Saturn and the United States Postal Service.